Easy on the door. Good morning, everybody. As y'all coming in, put your locations in the comments. Locations in the comments. We are getting started in a moment to make sure everybody in every app is live as supposed to be. Locations in the comments, everybody. Put your locations in the comments. As y'all are coming in, put your locations in the comments, everybody. Locations in the comments. Today's topic, we are talking not about Candace Owens, but we are going to talk about Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk has been speaking, and we're going to talk about what she's been saying, because I think there's some interesting things going on with what Miss, is it Ms. or Mrs.? Is it still Mrs. Kirk, even though she's technically, her husband is not alive anymore, or is it Ms.? Is it still Mrs. when your husband dies on you? Is it MRS or is it MS? Ms. being that you're single. Which one is it? Y'all tell me, ladies, what is it? Is it Ms. when you're widowed, or is it still Mrs.? I'm assuming it's still going to be Mrs. because she's still carrying that man's last name, and we know her because her husband passed away. So I'm assuming it's still Mrs. Mrs. Erika Kirk is speaking. We're going to talk about that. As y'all are coming in, give me your locations in the comments. We are live on Rumble. Good morning, Rumble. Live on YouTube. Good morning, YouTube. Live on X. Good morning, X. Live on LinkedIn. Good morning, LinkedIn. My name on LinkedIn, Rumble, X, and YouTube is at Dre All Day. We are live on Facebook, Facebook/Work on Your Game University. We are live on Instagram at Dre Baldwin. Good morning. And live on TikTok at Work on Your Game. Locations in the comments, everybody. Let's shout a few people out. King Works 21 from Tuscaloosa, Alabama is in the building. Good morning to you, sir. We are, where are we? On TikTok. Let's see what we got. Locations in the comments. Stop it. Stop BB now, says Mrs. That's what I thought. And that's what I see most of you saying, Mrs. That's what I thought. Annie AFF checking in from Kentucky. Good morning. Murphy Dem Up from Bristol, Tennessee. Good morning. Quail Ridge from Lincoln, California. Good morning. 140.6 Walnut Creek, California. Carol Ann Collins, Newburgh, New York. Dwayne Mitchell, Detroit is in the house. Tez NY, good morning from Alexandria, VA. Irma V, good morning. Abuelita from New Jersey. Jay Rocca, good morning from Delaware. Murphy Dem Up, thank you for the share. Marky Man checking in from Sacramento. Ray from Absecon, New Jersey. Irma said it is Mrs. That's what I thought. Okay, so it's still Mrs. Linda Gale, good morning from St. Louis. Dolphin said it's Mrs. Patricia, thank you for the heart. Linda Gale, congrats on the gifter badge. GGB from the Florida Panhandle, good morning. Gary Sherman said, what do you call an unmarried male? I think the males their titles don't change whether they're married or not. It's still Mr. So with a woman, it's Mrs. if she is attached, and is Ms. when she is single, not attached. So MS is not attached. MRS is when she is attached. Jean, good morning from New York. Andrea Levitt, good morning. Where was I? Marky Man says 41 degrees in Sacramento. That's not bad. Mile High Pride said Erika made herself look ridiculous. We're going to talk about that. We'll see. Irma V said, I love the likes. Me too. Let's get the likes up, folks. We're at 2,000 likes, about to be at 3,000. Let's get the likes up here today, folks. Let's get the likes up. Tap the screen, like the live. Y'all know the routines. Tap the screen, like the live. Tap the screen, like the live. And yeah. Where's my soundboard? Let me restart my soundboard. I want to make sure all y'all like the live, so I'll play my.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
So like the live, folks. Tap the screen and like the live. We're at 4,000 likes. We do 100,000 likes every day when I go live here. Andrew Levitt checking in from Massachusetts. Good morning. Mile High Pride checking in from Denver. Shout out to Denver. Leather and Pearls. Good morning. Leah checking in from Tifton, Georgia. Shout out to Georgia. Kristen RG, Lincoln, Nebraska. Christ Energy. That's Christ Energy is what that says. I said Kristen RG. Christ Energy is what it says. Lincoln, Nebraska. Good morning. Laura Iggy Lover from Oklahoma. Leona Lever, thank you for the share. Scott Young said, put the phone down. Yeah, that one's funny. Quell Red says, when does it change to Ms.? Ms. is when you do not have your unmarried. Unmarried is Ms. and married is Mrs. I learned that when I was in like third grade. Now, see, the educational system is failing. It's not teaching people this. Andrea, thank you for the Go Popular. Leah, thank you for the lightning bolt. Marky Man, number 3 gifter badge. Billie Jean checking in from Indiana. Happiness Now says 34 degrees in Atlanta. That's crazy. It was about 57 this morning in Miami. I ran outside. It was a little chilly, but that's about as cold as we accept. Anything less than that is unacceptable. Abuelita, thank you for the rose. GGB, good morning. Well, heck said it's snowing in Michigan. Now that's expected, so I don't think y'all have a problem with it. I think y'all know what it is. Kuya Binya Shara from Manson, North Carolina. Rick Thomas from Bradenton, Florida. Good morning. So, man, thank you for the liking the live. Everybody who's liking the live and tapping the screen. So, Billie Jean said, I wish I was in 57-degree weather. Well, you can be. It's 57 degrees right now in Miami. So come to Miami or Orlando. Actually, Orlando gets a lot colder than Miami, believe it or not. But come to Miami, it's about 57 degrees right now. By the time you get here, though, depending on where you're at, it'll probably be in the 70s. So if you want 57 degrees, you got to wait till tomorrow morning. It might be 57 again. But I've been looking at the weather. I look at the weather every day because I'm outside every day. So I need to know what the temperature's like so I know how to dress. So no, I'm not talking about these suits. I'm talking about when I work out in the evening when I'm not in the suit. But we'll have about just below 60 today and tomorrow. Then after that, it's going right back up to the high 60s as the low temperature. So I always look at the low temperature, not the high temperature. The high, I'm not concerned about. I'm concerned about the low. Sarah L says 54 in Naples, too cold for us. Yes, exactly. A little bit too cold. I don't like temperatures that start with a number lower than 6. In the winter, I'm okay with temperatures starting at the lows in the 60s, but then other than that, we want 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s. That's it. Darlene says 32 degrees in Washington, D.C. Yeah. So y'all got crazy weather. Anne Marie said it's 4 degrees in Wisconsin. Now, see, you signed up for that. You knew what you were signed up for when you lived in Wisconsin. Billie Jean says it's going to be 9 degrees the high in Indiana. Now, see, you signed up for it too. So y'all live in these middle America places. You know exactly what you're getting. Gigi says 40 degrees in the Panhandle. Now, see, you're in the Panhandle. You signed up for that. So, Erika Kirk, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Stop BB Now over on Rumble says some women prefer Ms. if they don't want to highlight the fact they were married before. Miss is usually for unmarried young women. All right, fair enough. So, Erika Kirk has been talking, ladies and gentlemen. And she says some interesting things that got my attention. So, she's done some recent interviews that it shows that she is shifting from, allegedly, shifting from being this grief-stricken widow to a combative protective of TPUSA's internal family. This is the term that she's using, the TPUSA family. And she's been drawing some emotional boundaries. That is also true. And she's been rejecting conspiracy narratives. Also true. These are all true. And asserting authority in a movement still destabilized by the assassination of Charlie Kirk. These are all true. Everything I just said, 100% true. I completely agree with all these things that are being said in framing Erika Kirk. She's been out there on a PR tour, purposely making sure that she is setting the frame, or at least what she thinks she is, setting the frame for how TPUSA is going to operate, how it's going to be looked at, how it should be talked about, and in what light it should be looked at, let's just say, for the foreseeable future, starting now, moving forward, because she is technically the CEO of the organization. I have something to say about that in a moment. Now, every appearance has revealed a new layer of her, maybe. Some say this. I actually don't think so. But she has talked about her faith a lot. She has shown her anger in her feminine way, in her way of covering it up. She has dabbed her eyes a million times. We haven't actually seen any tears come from her face. I don't think so. But she dabs her eyes a lot. So she's pretty good at catching tears before they come out. And that's kind of a joke. Her faith, her anger, her desire for privacy. That one's kind of shaky. Desire for privacy, but you're on TV like 3 times a week. Well, anyway, her refusal to allow outsiders to hijack the narrative surrounding Charlie's legacy. That one is highly questionable. Now, all that said, let me introduce myself first so we can get right into this, because there's a lot I have to say here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete, author of a few books, done a few TED Talks. I run this company called Work on Your Game Incorporated. You want to learn more about me, you can check me out at the links that you see in other places. I'm not even going to mention anything else. TikTok keeps giving me warnings, so I'm not going to say anything else about me. You want to know about me, y'all know how to use profiles and bios in Google. Let's get into the topic. Now, Erika Kirk was just on, it was Fox she was on that I heard her. She was talking to Harris Faulkner, I believe is the woman's name, the black chick. So she's talking to Harris Faulkner, and I've heard Erika on a couple interviews, and I've seen some of them are segments, and some of them are, I guess, the entire interview. And Erika Kirk, one thing about her that I can say positively is that the woman does not take long to warm up in these interviews and these TV spots that she's been doing. And she's there in person. She's not there via Zoom. She's there in person in the studio with these people that a lot of times when you watch interviews and there's some special guest person coming on the show, usually you start out with a couple softball warm up questions, get the conversation going, get the person comfortable. The interviewer gets comfortable with the person, and then eventually you move into the hotter topics. But they ask Erika Kirk a question right off the top, and she goes straight into it. She comes in hot. Erika comes into the game already warmed up. All right, that's one positive I can say about Erika Kirk. And at this Fox interview that she just did the other day, there was some questionable activities that I saw from Erika Kirk. Not activities, some questionable words that I heard come from Erika Kirk. And it's not that the words didn't make sense. It's just coming from her contrasted against the things that she's been doing and the things that have been coming out of Turning Point USA makes it look a little bit shaky to me. But y'all can tell me what y'all think. Because, of course, I always engage in the comments after I get done with the material. So those of you who are watching this for the first time, you don't know how we do this. I go through all the material things that I need to say. That usually takes us to the top of the hour. And then we open the conversation up for me responding to your comments. So any of you leaving a comment right now, I won't see it yet. Wait until the top of the hour when I will see your comments and I will respond to what you have to say. Or you can engage with the other people who are watching and y'all can comment back and forth with each other. But I'm not engaging with comments while I'm doing the content, just to make sure all y'all understand. Now, she opened the interview and she's done a ton of interviews over the last, what we say about the last month? Erika Kirk's done a ton of interviews. She was on Hannity. She's been on Fox and Friends. She's been interviewed by a bunch of people who I don't even know their names. She went to Megyn Kelly's live. Megyn Kelly was doing a live tour. She did like 10 cities. Erika Kirk was in one of those 10 cities as an interviewee. That was supposed to be Charlie Kirk, but since he got assassinated, she took Charlie Kirk's spot and she spoke there. Of course, she spoke at the memorial for her husband, Charlie Kirk, and she's spoken a few times since then. She's done a pretty good amount of PR. Erika Kirk is out there doing the PR game. So shout out to Erika Kirk and her PR game. She's been doing it pretty heavily. Now, she's been explaining that she has intentionally insulated herself after Charlie's death. And I understand that. I am not a woman. I've never been married to a man, and I've never been married to a man who got assassinated publicly in front of everybody. But I can understand, putting myself in her shoes, that she wanted to insulate herself after watching her husband lose his life, knowing that they have young children and knowing that everybody's now looking at her. And she's stepping into a CEO role at the same time. That her whole situation, she said her phone became a black hole and it signals this emotional overload and a conscious withdrawal from public noise, which I completely understand because it's not like her husband was just there was one way of looking at him. He was beloved by about half the people and a lot of people didn't like him simply not because he necessarily did anything wrong to anybody, but because he was a strong conservative voice. And right now in the United States, especially with Donald Trump in the mix, a lot of people have strong emotional negative energy towards the conservative side just because Donald Trump is the person, not because Charlie Kirk did anything wrong, but Charlie Kirk supports Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk got assassinated live in front of everybody. And a lot of people were either happy to see it or not sad, let's just say. And if you're the wife and you saw that happen to your husband, I can understand, again, even though I've never had the experience, I can understand how that is it seems kind of crazy. I said this when it happened, by the way. Those of you who've been watching my lives. Oh, you got binoculars? Okay. Close the door gently, please. So those of you who were watching my live streams back in September, you heard me saying this. In the week after Charlie passed, I said the way that people were responding to it, they just seemed very inhumane. So I'm just an outside observer. I was not that big of a follower of Charlie Kirk. I'm not on any side politically. And I said, that sounds crazy. The way that people were responding to him, what people were saying about him after he passed and how it was in any way, shape or form, okay for that to happen to anybody. I can only imagine the wife of the man and the mother of his children, again, very young children, how she could be feeling about that. So I understand her insulating herself from the public noise because that's all everybody's been talking about. Well, everybody was talking about for about 2 weeks. Then after that, Candace Owens picked up the baton and she kept it going for the next 2.5 months. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, this establishes that she was responding with grief and it frames her early silence as protection, not evasion. I understand that. Now, here's the challenge to that. The challenge to that insulation is that Erika Kirk, you are not just the widow of a man who got assassinated. You are not just the mother of the children of a man who got assassinated. You also, after Charlie Kirk passed away, Erika Kirk was named what? CEO of Turning Point USA. You got named CEO of the organization right after your husband passed away. Now you're saying you insulated yourself because you want to stay away from the noise, but at the same time, you're the CEO of the organization. So what the hell is the organization doing if the CEO is insulated and not looking at anything, talking to anybody, engaging in any way? How are you the CEO? I get you're a grieving wife. Okay, be a grieving wife. But if you want to be a grieving wife and you want to be the CEO, you can't pick and choose. The CEO has to be front line. That's what a CEO does. And who was the CEO before you? Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was on the front line. You knew where he was. He was accessible and he was engaging with whomever has something to say, positive or negative. You step into the CEO role and you say, well, I got silent and I disappeared for months and now I'm on a publicity tour. Okay, well, that does not insulate you from questions about your organization because you are the person in charge. And if there are questions about your organization, Candace Owens, and nobody's answering them, Turning Point USA, well, now we know why nobody's answering them, because the CEO said, I'm going to go into hiding because I need to insulate myself because I'm dealing with grief. I understand that you're dealing with grief, but you also decide to put on the CEO hat at the same time. So again, you can't pick and choose. So what are we doing here? So any criticism of her as a CEO is valid because the CEO can't disappear for 2 months. You can't do that. Everybody following what I'm saying here? So what I found is a lot of people, Candace Owens detractors, TPUSA supporters, and then people calling themselves Charlie Kirk supporters have gone into this feminine frame, whether it's a man doing it or a woman doing it, this feminine emotional frame of this person is dealing with grief. Therefore, you can't challenge, question, or criticize them. That's nonsense. If that person is also a CEO of an organization that is still going. And by the way, Turning Point USA took in $100 million in donations after Charlie Kirk passed away. So they're taking in money, probably sending out money as well. They just did an event at Mar-a-Lago the other day where they took in $40 million in donations. Ain't nothing wrong with making money. I ain't a problem with you making money. You made 100 million, you made $1 billion, you made 400 million. Doesn't matter. Make whatever amount of money you want to make. But if there are people out there sniffing around and saying, what is this nonprofit organization doing with that money? Why are they taking in all this money? Where are they going with the money? People have a right to ask that question because a lot of their money comes from donations. So the donors have a right to ask questions. Is this true or is it not? People who know what's happening with them publicly have a right to ask questions because you are a nonprofit organization. I mean, you're not taxed the same way that other businesses are taxed. Anyone has a right to ask a question. Anybody who pays taxes has a right to ask questions about what a nonprofit organization is doing with their money and doing with their dollars. And if you're the CEO of that organization, it is a responsibility on you to be available to and be accessible to answer those questions. And you saying, well, hey, I've been just trying to stay away from noise because my husband died. Yeah, I get it. But again, you put on two hats. Well, excuse me, you put on an additional hat. You were already a wife and a mother. You put on an additional hat of CEO. CEO doesn't get, there's no exceptions. I'm a CEO, but hey, I'm grieving. So don't ask me any questions. Don't ask me questions about my organization. I'll be taking $150 million in 90 days. That doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. Now, on the Jesse Waters show, here's what Erika Kirk did. She emphasized trust in the investigative team. That is the FBI, Mr. Kash Patel, etc. She trusts them. Fine. Nothing wrong with that. She is referencing that she's personally seen autopsy documents. We can only take her word for it. And she has collected evidence. I don't know what that means. And she projects confidence and legitimacy in what the process is doing. I understand. I mean, if you don't have any other options, what the hell else are you going to do? If your only other option is what? Listen to Candace Owens, then I understand as Erika Kirk why you may just take option A. I understand Erika Kirk. I get it. Now, she is basically trying to anchor the official narrative in firsthand credibility, meaning I've seen it. I was there. I'm the only one who's seen the autopsy. I'm the wife, and I'm the one trusting it, which means what she's saying without saying it. And again, this is the feminine lean. Without saying it, she's saying, because I trust it, and I'm Charlie Kirk's wife, and all y'all like Charlie Kirk, then don't challenge me. Now, she didn't say that in her own words. I'm theorizing that that's what she's alluding to. But let's continue, because there are more points here that may make it more solid. At the same time, she avoids details about inconsistencies that have been pointed out, most specifically by Candace Owens, but others as well. Candace Owens is the most famous person who's been pointing things out, but she's not the only one. A lot of people have been pointing out inconsistencies in the timeline of what Turning Point USA and their people, there's a lot of people connected to TP USA, what they've been saying and what people have actually been able to verify. There are some inconsistencies there. This is what Candace Owens has been basing her whole investigation, if you want to call it that, or whatever you want to call Candace Owens doing. She's been basing her whole thing around that. The motives of the shooter, if we even believe that the shooter, the named shooter was the shooter, which everybody doesn't agree to. Any external pressures that were on Charlie Kirk / Turning Point USA before his death, that they have had some things to say. Mr. Colvett, Andrew Colvett, he's one of the main voices over there at TP USA. He had an interview that he did recently that I could do a whole album on that one. We may get to that later on, either later this week or next week. And it's all intensified speculation for audiences looking for concrete answers. And this is the biggest challenge for Turning Point USA right now, and specifically for Mrs. Erika Kirk, because she's the CEO. So anything that you're putting on Turning Point USA, you're putting on the boss because she's the boss. She's the CEO. So it goes on her. The challenge here is that you have all these logical questions. There are inconsistencies about the timeline. Who was the shooter? What was the motive of the shooter? What are the external pressures on your organization and your former CEO? All this is leading to more and more speculation. You, the CEO, is not talking. And now you're talking and coming out and saying, well, I'm grief-stricken and my husband just got shot and this happened publicly and we got kids. So people need to stop and they need to slow down. But at the same time, you're the CEO. So it creates this conflict between the emotional play that she's trying to get off here. Emotional, damn it. And the logical point of you being the CEO of an organization that's taken in $150 million in donations in the last 90 days. And being that I'm a male, being that my communication style is direct and I don't do passive, I do direct. You can't play the emotional card to keep people from asking questions about an organization that you're running, which I've already said twice here. And that's what she's doing. And it's not that Erika Kirk is doing this in a manipulative way. I don't think she's trying to manipulate anybody. I think Erika Kirk is being a female, which she is. Last I checked. Erika Kirk's being a female. And this is one of the reasons. If you ever heard a man say it, you'll hear one say it right now. This is one of the reasons, one of the talking points, one of the strong arguments for why women are not built for leadership of organizations. Women were built to be supporting cast, the lieutenants, to a man in a leadership role. This is the reason why TP USA was thriving with a man in a leadership role, Mr. Charlie Kirk. Now they got a woman in charge. And the first thing this woman does when she comes out and starts speaking publicly is saying, hey, I was going through an emotional challenge, so don't ask me any questions about the logic of what's happening in my organization. That doesn't make any sense. That's an emotional response to a logical question. Men don't do this. Women do this. And she's, again, I don't think she's trying to manipulate. I think she's being a woman. This is the reason why women are not made to be in leadership positions. This is the reason why men need to lead. And Erika Kirk was doing a great job doing whatever she was doing when Charlie Kirk was alive. Nobody even knew. I didn't know who the hell she was. I didn't know who Erika Kirk was. I knew Charlie Kirk had kids. I knew he was married. Didn't know who she was. Didn't care. Didn't even know her name. Didn't know what she looked like. And she was great in that role. Now she's stepping into a leadership role. And the first thing she's doing is messing up. Based on the frame that I just gave you. Which is, hey, I'm dealing with emotions, so don't ask me any logical questions. But you're the boss. So who are we supposed to ask questions to? Who are we supposed to ask questions to? You're the boss. It's your organization. Y'all took in $150 million in donations. These are not sales, donations. So the people who are donating the money have questions about what's happening with this organization, and you're saying, don't ask me any questions because I'm grieving. Wait a minute. Now, there's a conflict there. Somebody got to resolve that. Now, she doesn't want any specifics asked of her. And then she says, she initially is calling for grace. In her interview, she said, hey, give us some grace. And on some level, yes, they do get grace. I mean, you did watch your husband die in front of you and you have young kids and everybody saw it. The whole world knows about it. She asked viewers to pray before posting anything online. Again, this is a feminine frame. She's positioned herself as above the fray and trying to cool down the public discourse. This fails. She's failed at doing that. She is not above the fray. She is not cooling down public discourse. And the things that she said so far are only going to throw more fuel onto the fire, as we can see, as what evidenced by what I'm talking about right here. Her strategy is to play the moral high ground to diffuse rumors. Newsflash to Erika Kirk and everybody at Turning Point USA. All right, your window for playing the moral high ground, all right, that window closed about, what's today? Today's December 11th. That moral high ground window closed about 60 days ago, 65, 70 days ago. That moral high ground window closed a long time ago. As soon as Candace Owens started asking questions, and she asked questions for about a week, and nobody at Turning Point USA said anything, your moral high ground window closed because she controlled the frame. She took control of the frame. Candace Owens, that is. She took control of the frame. She still controls the frame. Based on what the little, comparatively, that we've heard Erika Kirk speak compared to hearing Candace Owens speak, Erika Kirk cannot take control of the frame from Candace Owens. She does not have the verbal ability. She doesn't have the verbal dexterity to do so. So Turning Point USA, your problems are compounding. That's what I would say. Now, it's December now. That grace has already collapsed, as I already said. She was on another show called Outnumbered, and she's done this on a couple of different shows where Erika Kirk, one thing about her, she wears her emotions on her face. I mean, if you listen to her talk, you can see what she's feeling. You can see the grief. You can see the sadness. I don't think she's faking the tears. You can see the grief. You can see the sadness. You can see when she gets angry. It shows on her face before she expresses it out of her mouth. So she shifts to anger, sometimes claiming fatigue. She gets confrontational, not necessarily with the host, but she's confrontational with the point that is being presented to her. And she's showing that some of this stuff is kind of, she can't be emotionally diplomatic forever. I understand. You watch your husband get offed in front of the whole world. Everybody saw it. It's on video. Your kids know about it. They're eventually going to find out about it. Everybody's talking about it. You are the center of attention in the conservative movement right now in the United States of America and have been for the last 90 days. Now you're finally coming out and talking, and other people have taken the frame from you, and now you're trying to fight to get the frame back. I understand this can be very emotionally overwhelming for a female. This is the reason why women are not built for leadership. This is exactly why. For a woman, these type of challenges can be overwhelming, and a woman who is trying to play the role, which is Erika Kirk is doing, she's trying to play the role. I applaud her on trying to play the role. The problem is you're a female. You are not made for this role. She's not made for the role of CEO. Just by virtue of being a female. That's the reason Charlie Kirk was a CEO. Didn't Charlie Kirk and Erika Kirk know each other? Weren't they together for a while? Okay, why was he the CEO the whole time? Why wasn't she the CEO when he was alive? Because he's the leader. That's why. And that's why he was the CEO. And that's the reason why she's stepping in, only because he's not there anymore. When they were both there, there was no question of her being the CEO and him being not the CEO. He was the leader. The challenge is, and I'll say this from a different angle for all the people who didn't hear it the first time, is that when a woman is facing pressure, anxiety, stress, eventually with a woman, usually sooner than it would happen with a man, a woman reaches her emotional threshold, and there becomes this point of using emotion as a shield, crutch, or a defensive mechanism against the anxiety, pressure, and stress that is coming up against her. That's what a woman does. It does not make a woman wrong. If you're a female listening to this, it doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you lesser than. It doesn't mean that you are subservient to a man. I'm not saying those things. What I'm saying is a woman is not built for leadership, because in a leadership position, you must eventually deal with pressure and stress and tension and anxiety. You must deal with these things when you're in a leadership position. A man, as a general rule, I'm not saying every man fits this description. As a general rule, a man has a higher threshold for dealing with these things. A higher emotional threshold for dealing with anxiety, pressure, stress, tension, these type of things. That's what I'm saying. And this is the reason why men are built for leadership positions. So when you see these days women being put into leadership positions in organizations, they didn't get into those leadership positions because they went and just started things. Now, yes, there are some women who start businesses. Again, I'm speaking in general terms. I'm painting with a broad brush here. Women get put into leadership positions through the idea of diversity and equity and inclusion. Oh, we got to have women in here. We got to put some women in the space, and you have feminine energy men co-signing this nonsense. And this is something that I've said for years, way before Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk, any of this stuff. I've been publishing content for a while. Is that leadership is not given, it's taken. If you get put into a leadership position, you're not really a leader. That one you can take with you. That one you can use exactly as I said it. Take that one literally. If you get put into a leadership position, you're not a leader. Leadership is taken, not given. You cannot be assigned a leadership position, not as a true leader. Now, you may have the title. You work at a company and somebody promotes you to a leadership position. Okay, then yes, technically you have the position, but are you truly a leader? Not really, because you didn't earn it. You didn't take it. Leadership is taken. Turning Point USA was led by Charlie Kirk. Why? Because Charlie Kirk started Turning Point USA. In other words, nothing existed. He made it. He built it. He turned it into something. And by default of having been the one who did that, he was the leader. That's actual leadership. Leadership is not, okay, I was the spouse of a person who was a leader, and a leader died, so now I just by default become the leader. You didn't build anything. And this is the reason why she's not built for this position. That's why Turning Point USA's problems are compounding here. On top of everything else that I said, you have a leader who is unfit to lead. How do I know she's unfit to lead? Because of what I've just told you for the last 20 minutes. When the challenge is on and the heat is on, she defaults to emotion. Again, this is what women do. Doesn't make her wrong. It makes her female. It's the reason why she was at home raising the kids when Charlie Kirk was running Turning Point USA. We didn't know who she was. She wasn't doing interviews. She was doing what she was supposed to be doing. Now she's doing what Charlie was supposed to be doing. This is why they had problems. Continuing. There was a show called, or a deal book she was on, and she reframed leadership. This is what she called it. Divine duty, saying that grief has morphed into purpose. Fair. I hope so. I hope so. Her grief over seeing her husband pass away has morphed into purpose for her running the organization. I hope she's right. And she's appealing to faith-based audiences and establishing moral legitimacy for her new authority. I'm questioning that. That's shaky to me. That's shaky to me. Moral authority of legitimacy of her new position. No, I'm not buying that one. The moral authority, the moral legitimacy, for you having authority is what I just explained with Charlie Kirk. He started an organization from nothing. He took nothing and turned it into something, built it into something that mattered, something that other people cared about, that was having a real impact. And he was by default the leader. There was never a question of whether or not Charlie Kirk was the face, leader, CEO, boss, whatever you want to call him, of Turning Point USA, because he built it from scratch. That's the reason why he's the leader. Erika Kirk, what she built? She didn't build anything. Now, maybe she built a household. I hope she's a great homemaker and wife and taking care of the house and keeping the kids in order and giving them breakfast and lunch and all of that. That's the reason why she was the CEO of the house. He was the CEO of the company. Now she's the CEO of the company. She didn't do any of the work. Continuing. She simultaneously rejects the concept of the boss babe culture. I heard her talk about this. It contradicts her current role and exposes ideological tension between her stated beliefs and her lived circumstances. Because again, I don't think she was stepping out to try to be a boss babe. She was a wife to Charlie Kirk. So there's this cognitive dissonance, though, at the same time. She rejects boss babe culture, but you are literally the boss of the company, Turning Point USA, which seems to be a heavily male-heavy culture at Turning Point USA, from what I've seen. Again, I wasn't paying a ton of attention to this organization before Charlie Kirk's passing, but it looks like everybody representing Turning Point USA are all men. Doesn't that look like it? Isn't that what y'all see? You listen to Candace Owens, every person she fingers that is in or around Turning Point USA, they're all males. So it's an all-male organization, and here you go, the boss bitch running the organization now as the CEO. But she rejects boss babe culture. Now, I get what she means, though. I give her grace there. I get what she means. These women who run around and just say, I want to be a boss, I want to be a CEO, I want to run my own thing, basically trying to have the energy of a man in the body of a woman. I don't think she's trying to do that. So that's what I think she means when she says she rejects boss babe culture. So I give her credit on that point. While at the same time, her critics can very easily pretend to not understand that, or maybe they don't understand it on a logical level. And they say, well, you technically are the boss of an organization of a bunch of men. So even though you reject the culture, you are literally the picture of what a lot of women want to be. A woman running the organization with a bunch of men answering to her. So you literally are that, while at the same time saying that you don't like the culture. Y'all tell me. Anyway, she stresses forgiving the killer. She's done that many times, even like the day after Charlie died, she was doing that, or at that memorial, whenever that was. She appeals to Christian virtue. She's setting a tone of emotional transcendence instead of vengeance. She has done that. I can't even say nothing, no pushback to that point. She has done that from the very beginning, even right after Charlie died. Now, that forgiveness, some say that clashes with her vow that no rock will be unturned. I disagree. Whoever did it, I think she forgives that person, whoever that person was, or persons, if it ends up being more than one person. She is offering forgiveness to that person or those people. Even if you believe Some of you may, if you've been following Candace, you may believe that some people, even in Turning Point USA, had something to do with this. Not that they actually fired the bullet, or maybe they did, but they had something to do with it. Even if you believe that, Erika Kirk can still offer them forgiveness, because remember, Erika Kirk was not actively a member of Turning Point USA. Not a member, excuse me. Like, she wasn't running the organization. She didn't have a role in the organization specifically or officially until Charlie Kirk passed and she became CEO. So it's not like she was working there and she knew anything about the quote unquote plot, if you believe any of the theories that have been thrown out there by Candace Owens. I'm not saying Candace Owens said that they actually plotted. I'm saying she's thrown many things out there that they knew or they had something to do with it, maybe. Erika Kirk wouldn't have known because she wasn't working in an organization. So she could still offer forgiveness to whoever it was, even if it wasn't the guy who is currently indicted for the shooting. So that's fair enough. She gives critics an opening to challenge her authenticity. On this one, I say no. I disagree with that. And I don't think it's a contradiction. I think she's offering forgiveness to whoever did it. And she's said that from the very beginning. She's been very consistent on that, regardless of who it is. On Hannity, she was on the Sean Hannity show. There, she focused entirely on Charlie Kirk's book. Charlie had a book he was working on, and I guess now it's finished and the book's going to come out. I forget the name of it. I just saw she was holding it up on the Harris Fulton show. I forget the name of it, but it's irrelevant to this topic here today. She focused on Charlie's book, reaffirming Turning Point USA as a family and signaling continuity of mission, which, of course, every CEO is supposed to do that. I mean, it's like a boss, not a boss, but the general manager ownership of a team gives a vote of confidence to the head coach when the team's on a losing streak, and then the next day the coach gets fired. I mean, it's a normal thing. So she's trying to stabilize TP USA supporters who fear they may be a power vacuum. I get it. She's doing what she's supposed to do as a CEO, at least in that sense. But then at the same time, she won't talk about operational details. She won't talk about internal control. And this leads to audiences who think there's some kind of conspiracy happening here. Again, this is the Candace Owens approach. They interpret that this is deliberate concealment. And the fact of the matter is, she has not done anything to silence those voices, that this is deliberate concealment happening at TPUSA, either around what happened to Charlie Kirk or what's happened since. Because what happened with him, we're going to get to it in a second, what she said about that. Then at the same time, what's happened since then? She's been in the shadows. She's been quiet, in the dark, out the way. And now she's coming out and explaining why she's been out the way, using her emotions as a shield and saying, because I'm emotional, et cetera, et cetera. Again, she's setting the frame for nobody challenging her on anything. That's what she's doing. She's setting the frame of don't challenge me on anything, because don't you know my husband got murdered in front of the whole world? Don't you know that? She could use that forever. That's the problem. This is the problem with people who use emotion as a shield being in leadership positions, because anytime they face a stressful or challenging situation or question, they can always pull that emotion card and block you from challenging them, and or make you look bad publicly for challenging them, because who are you to challenge somebody who's going through this emotional grief? She can use that for the rest of her life. Next 30 years, she can say, hey, don't you know my husband got shot live on a live stream while he was talking at Utah Valley University? Don't you know that? Who are you to ask me a question? Hey, that was 10 years ago. I'm still dealing with that. Who are you to ask me a question? She could use that forever. This is the problem with putting women in leadership positions, because it's a problem with putting feminine energy people in leadership positions. Women mostly have feminine energy, and even some men these days are in feminine energy, and everything's emotion. We can't have a logical conversation because you can always default to emotion when you get into a tough spot that you don't want to address what is in front of you. This is the problem. Now, ambiguity that she has put out there in her interviews, it fuels these narratives about who is actually running the organization. Because again, if you've been quiet and grieving for the last 90 days, who's been running the organization while y'all took in $100+ million? Who's in charge? We need answers. I mean, if you're giving money to TPUSA, don't you want to know? Now, on the show Outnumbered, she delivered her most explosive moment. This is when she said, some of you may have seen this clip. She said, I don't care if you call me names, what you call me, whatever, but you're attacking my family, and it leads to this righteous anger that I have. Here's where she really messed up. She's messed up in many ways, but here's where she really messed up. She said, you're attacking my family. Nobody has attacked Erika Kirk's family. Erika Kirk was married to Charlie Kirk. That's her. That's one person is Erika. Charlie is two. He's not alive anymore. Nobody's attacking Charlie Kirk. Not those are people on the left. Right now, the conversation is mostly people on the right, all infighting with each other over this. Charlie Kirk's passed away. Nobody's attacked him. And they got, I believe, 2 kids. Okay, who attacked the kids? Nobody. Nobody knows the kids' names. So what is she talking about attacking her family? What are you saying, Erika Kirk, when you say people are attacking your family? Nobody said anything about your family. This is, again, using emotion as a shield.
Emotional, damn it.
Using emotion as a shield against logical questions. You're being asked logical questions. You may not like the questions. You may be uncomfortable with the questions. You may not want to answer the questions. But using emotion as a shield for logic or a shield against logic is a feminine frame, and anyone who does this is not fit to lead an organization, period. But here's what Erika Kirk said to extend on that context. She said, "You're challenging my family." Oh, she didn't mean her kids. She wasn't talking about her and her kids. Here's what she meant when she said, "You're challenging my family," when you're attacking my family. You know what she meant? Erika Kirk said, "My Turning Point USA family." Y'all see where this is going, right? More of the feminine frame. So here's what Erika Kirk's doing. Charlie Kirk gets shot on September 10th in front of everybody. He's dead. Erika Kirk steps in as CEO. She's the grieving widow. Now, people are saying, don't attack Erika because she's a grieving widow. Okay. Don't attack her. Don't attack her family because she's a grieving widow. Okay. Nobody said anything about her family. People talked about Charlie for about a week. That was the political left. They got quiet because they noticed the political right was arguing with each other. No need for them to say anything. Left ain't saying nothing. Nobody on the left saying anything about Charlie Kirk anymore. They moved on. They moved on to Jasmine Crockett running for Senate, which is a joke, but I may get into that on another day. Now, Erika Kirk is saying, don't attack my family, because Erika Kirk understands, as a woman, I think she inherently understands this without logically considering it. She doesn't have to logically consider it. I don't know if she has or not. It doesn't matter. She inherently understands that she has a cachet of shield that she can use indefinitely because she is the grieving widow of Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk has a ton of fans still to this day. She can use that as a shield forever, and that she can block herself from being challenged by anyone forever because she can use this. Hey, I'm Charlie Kirk's wife. Don't you know that? You can't ask me anything. Do you know who I am? I'm Charlie Kirk's wife. Don't challenge me on anything. And there's a whole bunch of men on the Turning Point USA side, supporters, members, donors, etc., who will defend her defense. And I think she understands this very well. And because of that, she can just use this, and she can extend it wherever she wants. So you can't challenge me because I'm Charlie Kirk's grieving wife. So don't ask questions about the organization that Charlie Kirk started. I told y'all about this last week, that Turning Point USA, their supporters and the people who have been going against Candace or going at anybody who has any questions about what happened with Charlie Kirk, all they're doing is using Charlie Kirk's legacy or the positive political capital that Charlie Kirk had. And when I say political, I don't mean politics like the government. The positive political capital Charlie Kirk had as a person, everyone who was near him or defending the people around him and the people who are around him, they're all using that political capital that now is up for grabs and available because he's not around to use it himself. They're using it as a shield against anybody questioning, challenging, or criticizing anything about them. And Erika Kirk is doing this expertly. She's been on a media tour for the last 2 weeks doing exactly this. That's all she's been doing for the last 2 weeks. I'm Charlie Kirk's grieving widow. Don't challenge me. Don't question me. Don't bother me. Don't criticize me. And even if you do criticize me, don't criticize my family. And my family, by the way, is everybody at Turning Point USA. How convenient. Everybody at Turning Point USA is part of my family, the grieving widow. So since you wouldn't criticize a grieving widow, don't criticize them either. This is not boss talk. This is not boss talk. This is feminine talk. And they are not the same. This is feminine talk that you can't criticize me because I'm a grieving widow, and you can't criticize anybody who I decide to sprinkle my pixie dust on. You can't criticize them either because, hey, we're all part of the same family. No, Charlie Kirk had one wife and 2 kids, period. That's the family. Nobody else is part of the family. They're part of the team. They're part of the organization. They're part of the business. Say that. Say, hey, these people are part of the business that Charlie started. And she could say, hey, I hope people would extend the same grace to the organization that they would to Charlie. And people could then have the option to say, well, hell no. I've already told you all that. I already told you that's a false frame. Even if she said that, it'd be a false frame. But her trying to use the emotional ploy is even worse. But I already told you all that this is no. Just because you work with Charlie Kirk does not mean you get the same respect as Charlie Kirk, because you ain't Charlie Kirk. All right, Michael Jordan played with Scottie Pippen. Doesn't mean everybody treats Scottie Pippen like Michael Jordan. All right, you Scottie Pippen, he's Michael Jordan. All right, everybody ain't the same. Yeah, you stood next to the person, but that person ain't here. We're talking to you right now. You got to stand on your own. Turning Point USA, Erika Kirk, whoever's left of them, they got to stand on their own too. And if they get challenged, you can't keep defaulting to, oh, well, I stood next to Charlie Kirk, so you wouldn't say that to Charlie Kirk, so don't say it to me. Bullshit. Charlie Kirk ain't alive anymore. Moving on. Critics note that her fiercest outrage has not been over the death of Charlie, but over the accusations towards the staff. Again, some saying that this is revealing misplaced emotional priorities. I think Erika is playing a role to a T. I think she's doing what she needs to do. I don't think she's being calculating. I think she's being a woman. I think she's pretty smart. I think she's being a female. That's what I think she's doing. I don't think she's acting right now. I think this is her natural self in the role that she's decided to take. That she is trying to protect the people at Turning Point USA for several reasons. Number one, this is the life's work of her husband. And from what I know, Erika Kirk wasn't running another business while he was running Turning Point USA. So this is what they got. All right. He left this to her. She got it. She's the CEO of the organization. So first of all, she wants to maintain what her husband built, number one. Number two, she's now the CEO. So she wants to continue going with the thing that her husband built, number two. So she needs it. This is her thing to do. Number three, all the people who are around in Turning Point USA, I think from what she understands up to this point, based on what she said, because I don't think she's lying, that she believes that they were trying to do their best for Charlie. And as of now, they believe the story from the FBI that it was a lone shooter who decided he had enough of Charlie Kirk's nastiness around the T community. He decided to take Charlie Kirk out, and that's why he did it. If she believes that, then she has no reason to question anybody inside the walls of Turning Point USA. So she's going and defending those people and using her own emotional capital to shield them. So she's using her reputation as you can't challenge me to say don't challenge them either because they're all standing behind me. I understand this. And at the same time, I understand this provides nothing but ammunition for the skeptics. And I am a skeptic, just in case you couldn't tell. This provides ammunition for the skeptics because there's no logic in here. She hasn't offered a single logical point in her whole media tour that she's done. Not one. Everything she's saying is emotional. And I get it. You watch your husband get offed on a live stream and the whole world knows about it. The whole world saw your husband get offed. And half of them were happy. And the other half are now trying to argue about whether what we were told is actually the truth or not. I understand the emotions that she's going through, even to this day. It's only been 3 months. I can only imagine. At the same time, you decided to become CEO. If she wasn't the CEO, I wouldn't be saying these things about her. But she decided to become CEO. If she wasn't CEO, I wouldn't even be talking about this. Because she wouldn't be the topic. Because who cares? I'm not to sound insensitive, but generally, who cares? She wouldn't be doing interviews. If she hadn't become CEO, the CEO would be doing interviews. Because that's what people are asking about is Turning Point USA. They're not asking about Charlie's wife. They're asking about Turning Point USA. And all of you who are listening to this, the day that you die, or the day of your funeral, rather, at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, your friends are going to say, where are we going for lunch? That's how quickly people move on. She's only being interviewed because she's a CEO, not because she's his wife, just to keep it real. Now, her plea is, she started off, I believe this is the Faulkner show. She started off the interview by saying, can I have one thing? Harris Faulkner asked her a question. This is the beginning of the interview. The hit was only about 6 minutes long. So I'm guessing they told her, maybe they prepped her ahead of time. Hey, this is only 6 minutes. So get yourself keyed up, or whatever you got to do, Erika, but we're going straight to it. First thing she said out of her mouth was, can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? And then she was basically saying, because people were asking, hey, where is Charlie Kirk buried? Where's his body? And what people have been saying is they know for a fact that Charlie Kirk's body has not been buried yet. And Erika pretty much confirmed this. The body has not been buried. Doesn't mean anything fishy is going on. I can understand why she might not bury the body immediately, because she doesn't want the world to know where that body is because half the people in the country might go and desecrate his grave because they didn't like Charlie Kirk or what he stood for, or the fact that he stood next to Donald Trump. So I get it. I think it makes sense for her to keep it private where that body is, or wherever the body actually goes, have it someplace that the public can't just get to it. I would do the same thing if I was responsible for getting him buried. I don't want to put it someplace where people can come find it, because I don't want people disrespecting that man's legacy by doing anything to his gravesite if they find out where it's at and they have access to it. So I get it. So she said the site is going to be private, and the burial site is going to be private. It's going to be raw, and not raw, excuse me. But when she talked about it, she was very emotional. She was very raw, and she was basically saying we're going to do the best thing we could possibly do for Charlie, et cetera, all the things that she was saying. That part is fine. And that's the psychological toll of being forced to grieve in public, that we're going to do this great thing for Charlie. And what I noticed in her, and this is something Erika has mastered. I don't know if this is a new skill or she's always had it, but this righteous indignation that she has, this righteous indignation that she's able to turn it on just like that. She's very good at it. This is not a bad thing for a person to have if you have it. If you can use it strategically, it actually works very well, because emotion is a very potent tool against most human beings, because most human beings can be tugged by their emotional strings. I'm not one of those people, but I tend to be on a lower end of the scale. Actually, I can be, but I'm on a lower end of the scale. There are many people who are much higher on the scale than I am, meaning you can persuade them with this. I'm much harder to persuade. The thing is not that she's wrong for doing it. It's just that if we're asking logical questions and objective questions about an organization that's taking in hundreds of millions of dollars in donations, and you're the CEO, and every time you're asked a question about anything involving that organization or the people in it, you turn on the righteous indignation. At some point, Erika, there needs to be a cutoff where we start having some logical conversation. When does that begin? Or is you're just going to go on an emotional tour from now until? That's the challenge that I have with this. Now, I understand why she keeps doing it, because, listen, Turning Point USA just did in, what do they call it? One of those, like a sponsored dinner, let's just call it, or just a donation drive event at Mar-a-Lago. That's Trump's place. Last week. Last week they did this event, or maybe it was earlier this week. They took in $40 million at that event. Erika Kirk was there. They took in $40 million. So, just to be clear, even though I'm offering my criticisms and my objective questioning of what Erika Kirk is doing and my opinions on it, they just took in $40 million at an event. So clearly, whatever they're doing right now, it's still pretty much working. So you can't knock their hustle too much. I'm not knocking their hustle. I'm just questioning their hustle. You can't knock this hustle. You can't knock a hustle that makes $40 million in a night. Now, I don't care who you are. $40 million in one night is a lot of money. That's a pretty good turnover. What do y'all think? $100 million in donations in 90 days. They got most of that money. That didn't take 90 days. It took about 30 days, less than that. That's a pretty good turnover. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how much money you made in the past. $100 million in a month is a lot of money. $40 million in one night is a lot of money. So whatever they're doing, it's working. Now, this is before Erika Kirk started doing all this media stuff, so I don't know if that's going to have an effect. But clearly, whatever they're doing, even if they're doing absolutely nothing, they're just sitting back and letting the money come in. Hey, can't knock that hustle, folks. All right, $1 is $1. All right, so let's be clear. Now, continuing. The secrecy around the burial location, some say is a magnet for further speculation. I disagree. I think it should stay secret. They should never tell anybody where that body is buried. Now, she calls this conspiracy culture a mind virus. She's been asked questions about the conspiracies and the theories around Charlie Kirk's death. And everybody is, of course, alluding to Candace Owens, because she's the one who's been carrying this baton for the last 3 months. Now, all the interviews she's done, I haven't heard anybody specifically say Candace Owens. They just refer to the people who are talking about whatever. I don't know why anybody wants to say the woman's damn name to get a direct answer from Erika. What do you think about what Candace Owens has said? Could you say something about Candace Owens specifically? I don't know why nobody will ask her the question. Maybe her people tell the interviewers before the interview, don't mention Candace Owens. That's possible. Any who's done any amount of media, they always ask you this. Anytime, even I do media, I'm not some super famous person. I'm not into any controversies. When I do media appearances, 60% of the time, before the interview begins, the host will ask me, is there any subject that is off limits or anything I should not ask you about? They always ask that 60% of the time. 60% they ask it. 40%, there's not even anything that's going to come up because it's more evergreen. But when you're doing news media, like stuff like this, if you have enough cachet, if you're famous enough and powerful enough, and Erika Kirk is pretty famous, pretty powerful, as of now, especially in conservative spaces, they'll ask her this question. They ask it as a courtesy, out of respect, because they don't want to piss you off because you have enough power that your name draws viewers. So they want you to come back. So they don't want to piss you off. So they'll ask you before the interview starts, or they'll ask you even before you even book the show. Is there anything we can't ask about? And her people probably say to them, hey, don't mention Candace Owens. You can ask us about the conspiracies and these stories, but don't say her specific name. Don't say her name. I would bet they probably say that to them. That's why they're not asking. Because somebody has to say, why don't somebody just say Candace Owens? She comes on a podcast, somebody's going to say, yo, Candace Owens, what about that? That's why she ain't doing any podcasts. Different conversation. Now, She says this is a mind virus, quote unquote. It elevates the discussion from factual dispute to moral and psychological decay. I say this is an appeal to emotion. They say psychological decay. Emotional, damn it. And moral decay. I say no. No, this is a dodge. And she's trying to reframe the critics as being infected or illegitimate or fake news, quote unquote. Problem, Erika, we didn't got over that already. We're past that. We're past the point of calling somebody a conspiracy theorist to get everybody to stop listening to them. That doesn't work anymore. People have been calling Candace Owens a conspiracy theorist for the last all year. She did the Macron's thing with the First Lady of France. Then she did this, and people were trying to call her conspiracy theorist. The problem is her audience gets bigger the more they do it. So clearly that doesn't work. So somebody over at TPUSA needs to get the memo over to Erika Kirk. Stop doing this. People are not buying this anymore. Now, calling it a mind virus without engaging the actual facts is seen as emotional diversion rather than explanation, which I've already told you all. It further polarizes the conversation rather than resolving doubt. She hasn't resolved anything with what she's been talking about. Now, she insists on full confidence in the legal group. That's the FBI, who's investigating. She trusts the process and even the institutions, even as there's skepticism out there. She says every lead we find and every piece of evidence we find, we're turning it over to the authorities, et cetera, et cetera. So it reinforces that there is respect for law enforcement. I guess that's a fine point that you can give her. But at the same time, she isn't addressing any specific claims. So she won't mention the Egyptian jets, the timeline gaps, the donor tensions. So it leaves all these questions unanswered that conspiracy content thrives on, if you want to call it conspiracy content. And again, conspiracy does not mean false. Conspiracy just means the mainstream hasn't accepted it yet. 6 months later, the conspiracy actually ends up being the truth. And we've seen this many times. Again, 5 years ago, there was a virus. Y'all remember that one? Anyway, so she's declining to address things, and these unanswered details become narrative oxygen for critics. Now, here's the other thing. She was saying that she quoted the Bible. Now, any of you Christians in here, she quoted the Bible and she quoted the book of Nehemiah. Y'all remember this one? I'm not talking about the book in the Bible, but she quotes the book of Nehemiah, where she says that Nehemiah is building a wall and there's a bunch of people down below on the ground who are calling him names and calling out to him and saying things to him, trying to get him to respond. And he is saying, I'm too busy building the wall, paraphrasing, I'm too busy building the wall to come down there and engage with you all, to engage with you folks. I'm too busy building. And Erika Kirk used this as a frame. So she's using the Bible as a crutch here. And she's pulling something out of context of the Bible as a way of defending herself. And I notice a lot of people will use the Bible as a frame and a crutch to defend their arguments or to make an argument. I do not agree with this. If you have a legitimate argument, make a legitimate argument. Don't use the Bible as a crutch, because people use the Bible as a crutch because they see the Bible as unquestionable. So if I can quote the Bible, then that makes whatever I say airtight. That's bullshit. Make a logical argument. Don't use the Bible as a crutch. So she pulls the Bible out and says, she didn't pull out a Bible, but she says, Nehemiah is too busy building a wall. And then she said, that's what we're doing over here at TPUSA. We're building a wall. I'm too busy building this organization to respond to the conspiracy theorists and the stuff that people are putting out there. Oh, really, Erika? Question, ladies and gentlemen. You remember the day after Charlie Kirk passed away? And Erika Kirk, who I didn't even know what she looked like. What did we see Erika Kirk doing the day after Charlie Kirk passed away? Does anybody remember? Can anybody put in the comments, what did we see Erika Kirk doing the day after Charlie Kirk died? What was she doing? Just Me said that is her belief the Bible is not a crutch. That's ludicrous. No, the Bible can still be a crutch. You can believe whatever you want. It doesn't mean that you're not using it as a crutch. You can believe something and still use it as a crutch. What was Erika Kirk doing the day after Charlie Kirk passed away? It was something that she did, and she wasn't even talking. Y'all remember? It was the day after he passed. It was something that she put out on social media. Y'all remember? Mile High Pride got it. What she was doing the day after he passed, she was not talking. I mean, she was kind of talking. She wasn't talking to the camera. She was speaking. She was saying something out of her mouth, but she wasn't talking to the audience. But it was recorded, and she put it out on the internet. Y'all remember what that was? It was her praying, grieving, crying, whatever, at the casket of Charlie Kirk's dead body. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? So Erika Kirk, this woman who has been on a media tour for the last 2 or 3 weeks. She's got a new interview coming out every 2 or 3 days. She's the one who, the first time I ever saw what this woman even looked like, she put out a video on social media the day after her husband died, or it might have been 2 days after he died, with his dead body in a casket. And she is grieving, praying, whatever it is she was doing at the dead body of Charlie Kirk. She put that out on the internet. She put that on Instagram the day after he passed away. That looked funny. Not funny like ha funny, but funny like, bitch, what are you doing? It looked funny to me that she put that out. I said, okay, if that's what she wants to do, fine. But I understand people questioning that and saying, like, what the hell are you doing? I understand people questioning it. At the same time, that kind of looked funny. At the same time, I understand that's what you want to do what you want to do. Social media provides the platform to people put out whatever they want to put out. You want to tell people what you had for lunch? Go ahead. Now, you want to put that out? Okay, that's what you want to do. She put that out. That was her introduction to the world. Nobody knew who Erika Kirk was until she put that video out. She's doing media every 2-3 days now on her media tour. Yet she says, I'm too busy building my organization to respond to what people have to say. But you're not too busy to go on Fox. You're not too busy to go on Hannity. You're not too busy to do all these interviews. You're not too busy to do Jesse Waters. You're not too busy to do all these press hits. You're not too busy to do Megyn Kelly Live. But you're too busy building. Really? What are you building? Only thing it looks like Erika Kirk is building is a narrative. And that's the problem I have with this. You're the CEO of the organization. If I'm giving money to Turning Point USA, I need answers. I don't need this media, whitewash media shit. I need answers. I want to know what the hell is going on. I want to know, because Candace Owens did events with Turning Point USA for like 6 years. Turning Point USA ain't that old. I want to know, besides Charlie Kirk, who was on stage for Turning Point USA more than Candace Owens? Is there anybody? Anybody give me a name? Is there anybody who was on stage for Turning Point USA more than Candace Owens from the time they started until now? Who was on? Charlie Kirk was number one. I say Candace Owens is number two. Is there anybody who beats out Candace for number two for appearances on stage officially as a representative of Turning Point USA? Is there anybody above her? And I'm going to tell you why I'm asking this question. Is there anybody who beats her out, who has more appearances than Candace for Turning Point USA besides Charlie Kirk? Is there anybody else? Anybody living with more appearances than her? I'm asking the question. Can anybody give me a name, or am I right about that? She's number two all time behind Charlie Kirk. Nobody's giving me a name. Does somebody give me a name? Okay, nobody's giving me a name. I don't think anybody has her beat. If Candace Owens, the person who appeared there more than anybody, as of today, Candace Owens has put more time in with Turning Point USA than Erika Kirk has. And she is the one asking the questions, assuming that she has positive intentions. So let's just assume that she does. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Candace Owens, that is. She has positive intentions. Why can't Erika Kirk respond to her? You're too busy building? Building what? Candace Owens did more building at Turning Point than you did. Candace Owens was there when Turning Point wasn't that big, actually going to the events and in the trenches doing stuff. Erika Kirk ain't been in no trench. What trench was Erika Kirk in? You see Erika Kirk getting on the stage and arguing with liberals about anything? You think she has the emotional, internal fortitude to do that? I doubt it. I don't think so. What's she going to do? That's what Charlie Kirk was doing. What's Erika Kirk going to do? Who is Turning Point USA sending to a college campus to debate these days? Who's their headliner? Candace ain't there anymore. Charlie's dead. Who is it? It ain't Erika. Who is it? But she says she's building. I just want to know what she's building. She's too busy building. How are you too busy building when you're on TV every other day? What are you building? It looks like she's building up for her book release. I don't know if she has a book coming out, but I'm pretty sure it's coming. If she don't have one coming, it's coming. So she's declaring that she will not wilt away. She projects resilience and asserting herself as a permanent force within TPUSA moving forward. Well, I mean, you own the organization. Of course, you're a permanent force. You didn't earn being a permanent force. You're a permanent force because your husband owned the organization. He died. Now you own it. Yeah, you're a permanent force. Yes, correct. But did you build that up? How'd you get there? You didn't build it from nothing. You didn't have your knees in the dirt. You watch him do it, and now you just inherited it. You inherited a position that you didn't work for. Now, some say she did because she was the wife, and I get it. But as I already explained, Real leadership is not given. You can't be given leadership. You take leadership. She got given leadership. Now, this declaration signals that there's a consolidation of power that some interpret as TPUSA is going to be more centralized, more emotional, and more defensive. I say that's pretty much right. That sounds right. From what we've seen, this is the boss. All you need to understand, you work in an organization, the organization takes after the boss. If the boss is emotional, the organization is emotional. If the boss is defensive, the organization is defensive. She's the boss. Turning Point USA is doing what it's doing on December 15th. This live stream, remember the live stream that Candace Owens was invited to, and anytime, any place, and you got to do it in person, and I won't do it in person, we're going to do it without you. All of that is defensive. That's defensive. What TPUSA was playing defense when they did that. If there's one reason you're doing that live stream on December 15th for one reason, the only reason they're doing that live stream is because Candace Owens. So if she's the reason you're doing a live stream, and she says, well, let me join live so I can engage with you all, and you say, no, you got to come in person, why are you being defensive? Let her talk. Let her say what she got to say. If you got the truth on your side and she has lies on her side, the truth always beats lies. The truth is light in the dark, light to darkness. All right, darkness is the absence of light. You bring the light out, darkness got to disappear. All you got to do is let her talk. But they're being defensive. Now, here's the question. Would Charlie Kirk have done this? Give me a yes or no in the comments. If Charlie Kirk felt like there was one person trolling, bashing, attacking his organization over and over and over again to the point that he decided to respond, would Charlie Kirk respond by saying, I'm going to do a video and respond to all the nonsense this troll has been saying, and I'm not going to let the troll be involved in the conversation. I'm just going to respond to what the troll says, but I'm not going to let the troll talk. If he got to the point of responding, would he do that? Everybody knows he wouldn't do that. Everybody knows that Charlie Kirk decided to engage with somebody. He didn't engage with everybody. If he decided to engage with somebody, he would engage with them direct. Turning Point USA, Candace is alive. She has a show that comes out every day. That's the reason y'all responded to her. So clearly she has the internet. Clearly she knows how to stream. Clearly y'all know how to stream. Why can't they make this happen? This is defensive activity by Turning Point USA. And according to Blake Neff, that's the producer who put out that lawyer-prepared statement last week. According to him, all of this is being directed and okayed and being pushed forward by the boss, who's Erika Kirk. And she's the boss. And if the boss is defensive, the organization is defensive. Turning Point USA is playing defense right now. And that's a problem. Turning Point USA was built on playing offense. Charlie Kirk played offense. He went to the campuses and had debates. He would talk with somebody who was a LGBTQ or somebody who was heavily against Trump or somebody who was about to vote for Kamala or somebody who was whatever on the opposite side of him. He would engage with those people. He engaged. What made Charlie Kirk interesting is that he was willing to engage. He wouldn't just go off on his show, on his platform, and straw man the arguments of the other side and then say he won without actually engaging with them. He would engage with whoever had something to say. He would show up and he would let them engage. Okay, you got something to say? Let's engage. Let's do it. Now Turning Point USA has decided that someone on the right, on the political right, Candace Owens is conservative. Someone on the right who actually used to work there and was on stage with the guy, now she's the troll that they got to ignore. Now they're playing defense. Now they're emotional. And this is a problem. And I personally don't understand the mindset of a man who can be part of an organization that's being run by an emotional and defensive woman. How can you be there answering to this woman as a man? I don't understand that. Blake Neff, Andrew Colvin, I don't understand this. How can you do that? If you really feel like you got truth on your side, why would you play defense? There's no defense. The truth doesn't have to play defense, ever. The truth doesn't have to play offense or defense. The truth just is. It's kind of like the sun. All right, the sun doesn't play offense. The sun doesn't play defense. It's just there. All right, it's light outside. We know the sun is somewhere out there. You might not be able to see it because the clouds out there, but you can see it. You know it's there because we can see light. You don't need to turn your lights on. It's right there. Now, easy on the door. Now they're playing defense. So this consolidation of power, this organization looks vulnerable. They look questionable, these folks over at TP USA. And the reason why they look questionable, amongst other things, First of all, they look questionable because Candace Owens started asking some questions that started out pretty simple. First few questions she asked about them started out pretty simple. They wouldn't say anything back, which human nature suggests that when somebody's throwing things out there that are trying to make you, that put you into question, and you just won't address them at all, you're not saying anything, and there's a loud cacophony about it, and you're not saying anything, it makes you look a little bit questionable. Turning Point USA, they did look questionable at first, but that doesn't always signify guilt. All right, questionable and guilt are not the same thing. Then 2 months go by. Candace just keeps going. She builds up this firestorm, and it's still going. Fire is still going. They put out this lawyer prepared statement that it just didn't sound human. It was just very lawyer. It was very legalese, that statement, which again, I already told you, the lawsuit is on the way from Turning Point USA. They're just waiting for the right time to drop it. Probably after this December 15th stream. Maybe they'll drop it on Christmas Day, something like that. So then they put out the legalese statement. And I said, okay, it's clear that they're hiding something because, again, that's the only reason you go grab a lawyer to make an offensive statement is when you're hiding something because Candace Owens is not suing them. So what do you need a lawyer for? Now, December 15th is coming. Actually, before that, Erika Kirk goes on her media tour. She's the boss, and she is nothing but emotion, nothing but using emotions as a crutch to avoid any logical questioning. And she's the boss, so they're all following her lead. And between the legalese statement and the press tour, they said, the men at Turning Point USA said, Erika Kirk is the one directing this, so we know she's the one telling them what to do, and they got to follow the boss. Unfortunately or fortunately for them, they decided to work there. Now she's on the press tour saying what she's saying, which is a whole bunch of nothing and a whole bunch of emotion. Now, December 15th, they're going to come out and do a whole bunch of straw manning of Candace Owens. Remember that I told y'all this 30 times already. December 15th, when they do that live stream, that's all they're going to do. They're going to take everything that Candace has said. They're going to change it into something that she didn't say. Then they're going to argue against it. And then they're going to claim that they have now once and for all settled the arguments about anything Candace has said. That's what they're going to do. Guaranteed. Then after that, Candace is going to use it and clown them. And then sometime after that, I say between now and the new year, they might drop the defamation lawsuit, Turning Point USA versus Candace Owens. It might come before the end of the year. So we might get a New Year surprise or a end of the year surprise with them suing Candace Owens. They're going to sue her. It's just a matter of when they do it. I'm assuming this only thing they got left is this December 15th thing. That's all they need. And I think that's all. That's the last nail in the coffin before they drop the suit. I'm thinking, unless there's something else that I'm not considering. At which point we will talk about it. All that said, everybody, as I already said, this is the reason why women don't belong in leadership positions. Women are not built to handle the emotional challenge and the stress that comes with being in a leadership position at this level. And this is the reason why Erika Kirk wasn't the leader of Turning Point USA. She was there the whole time. She saw Charlie Kirk build the organization. She was at home with the kids, where she belonged. Now she's out on Front Street, and we see what's happening. All that said, folks, I do need to take a quick restroom break. Then we will get to our commentary. So if you have questions or comments, now I'm going to start looking at the comments in a minute. So between now and then, let's see. What do I think we're going to pull out here today? Maybe we'll pull out some.
Oh, I like your funny words, Magic Man.
We might get some funniness. I'm sure we'll get a few.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Some non sequiturs and one I already
Have some
used.
more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
Let's see if we can get to 200,000 likes here today, folks. We're at 125. And our favorite one, our new favorite right now. Oh, I forgot about this one.
Strawberry cheesecake.
That's our classic. But our new favorite one is this one.
Put the phone down. This is for my safety. Put the phone down. This is for my safety. Put the phone down. This is for my safety. Put the phone down.
All right. Let's get to it. Let's start over on YouTube. We got a few comments on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube picking up on the commentary the last few days. So, Girlies Esque says, as a former CEO, I can't tell you how right you are. I grew up with 6 brothers. I've led government agencies and have taken leadership roles, never handed them. I don't advise it. Many men couldn't do it. Fair enough. I agree. Not all men are built for leadership roles either. So I want to be clear. Let's be clear on that too. So just to give the ladies a girl, he said many men couldn't even lead. It's hard. Candace was right. Organizations are not children. It is hard as a woman to not treat organizations that way, but when you do, you are labeled a biatch and needing sex. It's rough. Yes, this is true. That's the challenge. I understand. Girl, he said, I wasn't the boss babe. My staff called me Iron Hand. Yes, I've known other women who have told me similar stories that they get looked at as if they are just too hard and too masculine as a woman when you're actually doing the leadership role the proper way, which is the challenge. Red said, one thing those black jeans say to me is that I'm single. Who wears black jeans? Erika Kirk? What does black jeans have to do with being single? Red Sky said, if you are dead, Charlie, we will keep asking questions no matter what that thing you call a wife says. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Red Sky said, Mikey, calmest young man in America. Drone, yeah, I heard about that. I mean, Ken been talking about it a lot. Red said, there's a video of Erika using some sort of eye drop bottle. I use artificial tears sometimes, make your eyes well up, twisted people. You think she's doing it? That'd be interesting if it was true. I don't know. Girlie said, Miss Joey said that was a woman high on power. Girlie said she needs acting lessons, girl. We know you were out of Charlie's league. I'm not saying she's a honeypot, but I'm not saying it. We don't know, but we know. Okay. I haven't gone into that. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole, but fair enough. I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of I heard some people saying that when it first happened, like who exactly was she? Was she set up to be with him, et cetera, et cetera? I don't have an opinion on that. I haven't looked into it. Not sure I ever will look into it. Let's get over to the comments on TikTok. So I'm picking up from the oldest to the newest comments, by the way. Oldest to the newest comments, everybody. The indicator is Pre said, whenever he says, by the way, I know I'm going to learn something new. All right, I like that. Now, keep that in mind. Duke said, this is something that should not be spoke about. What should not be spoke about? Whatever it is, I already spoke about it. So what do you mean? Anconic perspective. Anoconic, thank you for the follow. Just me said, I have a picture of me with my father that had passed, and I posted it. Okay, what does that have to do with what I'm talking about? Kay said, not to me. User said, why does that look funny? Why does it look funny? Because she was not active on social media before that. I hadn't even seen anything from her or about her. The first thing she posted on social media is a video of her displaying, hey, here's me showing you that I'm the wife of this guy who just passed and everybody's talking about it. This is her introduction to the world. That's why it looked funny, because it was an introduction to the world and she was clearly asking for the attention. You get on the internet, you get on social media, start posting things about your life, you're asking for attention. So you can't ask for attention on one hand, then on the other hand, you're doing your media tour and saying, can I have one thing? Can you just let our family grieve? Well, wait a minute. You're saying let our family grieve quietly and in private, but at the same time, the day after your husband died, you're on social media posting a picture of you standing next to his fucking casket. So which one is it? That's the reason it looks funny. Now, if she was on social media all the time and she posted that and she was out talking all the time, she's been responding to Candace for the last 3 months, then it wouldn't be funny. But she's on TV now in December saying, give us the time and the space to let us grieve, while at the same time you're the CEO, while at the same time the day after he died, you posted that video of you at his casket. I've never seen any public figure. A lot of public figures have died over the last 20 years. Never have I seen the person closest to them the next day put out a video of them praying and grieving and crying at the casket. So it was an interesting thing. I hadn't seen anybody else do that. Have you seen anybody else do that? Sushi Roll said it wasn't the day after. Okay, get the spirit of my point. If it wasn't the day after, whatever day it was shortly after. And everybody was talking about it because it was very interesting because we have not seen anything like that. Kay Sarah says she knew people loved him. Okay, so did I. User said, I had pics like that with my grandma. Well, who the hell is your grandma? And who the hell are you? Your name is user 731-987-405-438. Nobody gives a damn who you are. So you have pics with your grandma. So What are you talking about? Put the phone down.
Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down!
Lisa Simpson said it was weird. Yeah, it was weird. Sushi Roll said, you were talking about his hand in the casket. That was a bit after. Okay. Mia said, but people were questioning his death and if he really passed. I wasn't. I saw the video. Did y'all see the video of when he got hit and that blood coming out his neck? There was no question. There was no question. Just me said, if you followed Charlie, you knew who she was. She has done podcasts with him. I'm not saying she never existed in the world. I know that people knew she was married. He was married and that he had a wife. But she was not active doing anything, saying anything. So again, get the spirit of my point, not the letter of it. Sushi Roll said, lots of people I know post pictures of hands. It wasn't the hand. It was his whole body. It was a video. It wasn't a picture. It was a video. Tara Mills said, Eric Kirk is not trustworthy. Maybe. I don't know. Sarah Gonzalez said, I only feel bad that the children don't have their father anymore. Everything else is a show. Sarah, I generally agree with that. Sushi Roll said, no, this is way off. But hey, everyone has I think you mean opinion. What am I way off about? You should instead just say what I got wrong instead of saying I'm off. Actually say what I got wrong. Kay Sarah says she got fired. Yeah, I know. So that doesn't mean that she didn't help build the organization. It doesn't mean that she hasn't appeared on stage more than anyone who's still alive for Turning Point USA. Those are still true. Mile High Pride said nobody was more present than Candace. Exactly. Right after that. You just said everyone had more appearances. Say their name. Say a name of one person. Karina said, do you believe Brexit being renamed is sending a message? I didn't know they got renamed. Renamed to what? And generally, I don't really know that much about Brexit, so I don't really care. But you can tell me what they got renamed to. Cami Housley says she was, but she was let go from Turning Point. What does her being let go had to do with the question that I asked? Why are many of you adding in that point as if it has anything to do with the question? The question was, who appeared on stage more for Turning Point? Besides Charlie Kirk, did anyone appear on stage more for Turning Point than Candace Owens? That was the question. So a bunch of you saying she got let go from Turning Point. What does that have to do with my question? And I think most of you who are saying that are females. This is exactly what I mean. See, with women, they always got to add the emotional point in with the logic. I'm asking you a logical question. I'm not asking you for the emotional point that counteracts the logical answer. Just give me the logical answer. Many of you are proving my exact thesis here today. K. Sarah said, Candace is saying the same thing. If she can't have TP, then no one will. Candace has never said that, K. Sarah. Now, see, there's another woman making this comment. I'm going to point out today every time a woman makes a comment that has nothing to do with my question or the point, but is an emotional point that makes you feel good. These are loaded comments. So you can hear that sound right there. That's the loaded comment. Carmen Indiana said, your opinion is tainted by your opinion of Candace. Erika went on campuses with Charlie. Well, everybody's opinion is tainted by something. So I don't think my opinion is tainted. I think you could say it's colored. My opinion of Candace is what, though? What's my opinion of Candace? So in order for you to make that statement, you would need to know what my opinion of Candace is. And I don't think I've stated a direct opinion of Candace Owens, the person. I say Candace Owens, the podcast, the show, has done a good job of drawing attention to a subject that otherwise would have been ignored because nobody else is talking about it as loud. My opinion of Candace Owens, the person, I don't know Candace Owens, the person. So I don't know what you mean by that. That's a bit of a non sequitur.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Erika went on campuses with Charlie. I'm not questioning that. When I say that she wasn't around, I'm not saying that nobody even knew her face. I say I didn't know her face. She was not super publicly active. Again, we knew Charlie was married. We knew he had kids. So I'm not saying nobody ever saw her before. Nobody in the world. I'm saying I didn't know of her. And most people didn't know of her until after he died. She posted that video of her grieving next to the casket. Again, get the spirit of the point, not the letter of the point. Sobriety said, oh, thanks for the follow. Okay, Sarah said, Candace is too busy saying anytime, any place. Kara, well, she only said that one time. K. Sarah, she said that one time. User said they're being really nice not suing her. Not really. It's going to cost them a lot of money to sue her, and they might lose. So they're not doing her a favor by not suing her. Just because you sue somebody does not mean you're going to win. Just me said, Candace was with 2P USA for less than 2 years. That's not what Candace says. She was doing events with them all the way up to 2014. She might not have been like on the payroll as a staff member, but she was doing events with them all the way up to 2024. Did I say 2014? 2024. Who was on stage for TPUSA besides Charlie Kirk more than Candace Owens? Give me a name. That's what I'm asking everybody. So a bunch of you are answering a question that I didn't ask, because clearly the answer, that if you gave the actual answer, it would make you uncomfortable. The answer is nobody. That's the answer. Nobody. And compared to Erika Kirk, Candace Owens has done more building for TPUSA than Erika Kirk did. That's what I'm saying. So any of you have a logical pushback to that point, please tell me what it is. Carla said, Charlie actually said Erika was better at the debates than he was. Okay, maybe he did. Now, my question to you, Carla, is are you going to see Erika Kirk get on stage and start debating liberals the way Charlie Kirk did? And the answer, you and I both know the answer is hell no. Based on what she's doing on TV right now, Erika Kirk is not emotionally equipped for those type of debates, because they're not emotional debates. They're logical debates. And as you can see, Erika Kirk is not built for that type of challenge. This is the very point that I made earlier. This is the reason why women don't get into leadership positions. It's the reason why you don't see most women doing these debate things. These debate me things, usually as men. There are a handful of women who are good enough at it that they can do it. Candace Owens being one of them. And there are not too many of them that are good at it. Because it's a dispassionate project. You have to be very dispassionate to do those debates. You can't get emotionally engaged in the argument. The challenge for women is that women tend to go emotional much quicker than men do, which is the reason why Charlie was doing the debates, not Erika. So he said Erika was better. That might have been him giving his wife credit. Men tend to do that. Nothing wrong with him doing that. But let's be honest. Is Erika going to go on campus tours and start arguing with liberals? Is she going to go to Penn State and argue with some liberals? Really? Do you really believe that? I don't think you think that's the case. But you can tell me if I got it wrong. You just said in high school, Candace sued her school because her boyfriend supposedly made a racist prank call to her. All right, I did hear that Candace had a lawsuit back in high school, but what the hell does that have to do with what we're talking about here today? So that sounds like a little bit of...
Stop it. Get some help.
Some of y'all got CDS, Candace derangement syndrome. She's not the topic here today. Kay said, why is the Democrats behind her now? Behind who? Tez and Y said, I doubt he would have. Scooby said Charlie would respond and debate. Yeah, Charlie would engage. If he engaged with you, he engaged directly. He didn't engage with you indirectly. He would engage directly, or he would not talk to you at all. It was one or the other. It was the way I suggest all men engage. If you're going to engage with somebody, engage with them directly. Don't do the indirect thing. I don't like when men are indirect or passive. It's not masculine. Jogfed said, everywhere can this goes some drama and conspiracy theory. I think you mean Candace. Everywhere Candace goes and some drama and conspiracy theories, such as, give me some examples. Give me 3 examples. Abuelita said he would not. Just Me said, Candace also thinks that Weinstein was wrongfully convicted. Well, did you listen to the series? Based on what Harvey was saying, sounds like he has an argument. I'll listen to that series with Harvey Weinstein. Sounds like he has an argument to me. And what do you think? Did you listen to the series? Did you listen to the case and the charges that he had? Do you know that one of the women that testified against him in that Harvey Weinstein case, they were never in the same physical space at the same time, and they still got him on the conviction? A lot of it looked fishy to me. But what do you know about it that makes you think there's something's wrong with that? Because you put the eye-rolling face there. Why? Because the media told you that he did it, and the media told you he was a bad guy, and because a bunch of people said it, is the rap smear, as Nancy Pelosi explained. You put a negative story out about a person, you get it to all the media outlets, you get everybody saying the same thing, and before you know it, an average person who knows nothing about the whole situation believes what the media has told them because they heard it so many times that it must be true. So Just Me sounds like you may have fallen for the bandwagon fallacy here. But if you know something that I don't know, please tell me.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
Nana said, who else has Candace Owens fatigue? I don't think anybody has Candace Owens fatigue, which is why even anytime she's the topic, everybody tunes in to talk about it. If you really have fatigue, you wouldn't listen. Carl said, why is Candace now calling Erika to show his will because she doesn't believe he wanted Erika at TP? I didn't hear that, but even if she did, Candace Owens would probably explain why she said it. If you heard her say that, then she would probably tell you right after that why she's saying it. But I didn't hear that. Cammie Housley said he was murdered in a public forum. His wife and friends at Turning Point saw that are grieving. Yeah, I know. I know they're grieving. At the same time, that does not mean that you can shield yourself from logical questions about the organization that you're the CEO of. You can be grieving and you have to answer questions as a CEO, or you need to step down as CEO. That's the way it works. Again, this is a female. Cammie Housley, you're a female, right? All right, makes perfect sense. Renee Jones said, if tables were turned, I feel Charlie would question things just like Candace says. I hope he would, which is what Candace has been saying over and over again. Tara Mills said Charlie was questioning where the money was going in his organization. Yeah, he was. And that's what Candace has been emphasizing. And Turning Point USA has been making sure to not let that conversation keep going. User said, once Erika heals, Candace is going to be sued to smithereens. Well, just getting sued doesn't destroy you most of the time. If you have a lawyer, depending on how good your lawyer is and what they can do with the case, it's if you lose, you could have a judgment that could take you to smithereens. But just getting sued itself isn't necessarily the death blow. K. Sarah said, Candace said, anytime, but Candace is too bitty. Anytime, any place, they name the place, but Candace has to have, again, the internet's a place. If Turning Point USA really wanted to have the conversation, they wouldn't have set parameters. Cammie said, probably traumatized, and Candace is being crazy. She had a different story every day. Now, her story's been pretty consistent. The story just expands. And in an investigation, that's exactly what's supposed to happen, Cammie. The story is supposed to expand. That's the reason why you do investigations. Now, if you don't want to investigate, then you just accept the neat little story that fits into a box, the one that we got 3 days after Charlie died. You accept that and you won't listen to anything else. Now, that's the one coming from the government. But I thought you conservatives didn't listen to everything the government had to say. That's what I thought it was for conservatives. I thought conservatives questioned the government. I thought the conservatives were about small government and limited government and let's take things out of the hands of the government and put it back into the hands of the people. That's what I thought conservatives wanted. But it sounds like a lot of you all, I'm assuming that many of you are conservatives, it sounds like a lot of you want to listen to the government now, all of a sudden, which is interesting to me. But I've seen stranger things. Long Drive sent the I'm ready. Thank you. Cool V says CK was waking up. At least that's what Candace says. Maila says, if you don't, Malia said, if you don't want to hear from Candace, stop giving her attention. Just saying. Everybody wants to hear from Candace. People claim that they don't want to hear from Candace, yet they tune in every episode to find something to criticize. So they're saying one thing and doing another. Kay said, what does any place mean? Is a colloquialism, Kay Sarah, if you're logically asking the question. If I say to you, Kay Sarah, I will have a conversation with you anytime, any place. Does that mean that you then say, all right, Dre, you got to meet me today at 3:00 in Boston? Are you really trying to have a conversation if you do that? Anytime, any place means you call me on FaceTime or you email me or you send me a DM and we set it up. If anytime, any place is my way of saying directionally, I am open to engaging. That's what it means. Anytime, any place means I'm open to an engagement. It doesn't mean literally you just name any random time in any random place. And if I don't show up, that means I was lying. That's not what it means. The reasonable person doctrine is what works in law. If that was going to court, if TPUSA and Candace Owens were in court arguing about the anytime, any place statement, TPUSA would lose. Because anytime, any place by the reasonable person doctrine means exactly what I said. It means I'm open to an engagement. It doesn't mean that you literally name any time or any place. And if I don't show up, that means I wasn't telling the truth when I said anytime, any place. And I think most of you reasonable adults understand that. But because of your Candace derangement syndrome, you want to keep using that as a straw man. So, K. Sarah, since you've been trying, let me offer you a slice of strawberry cheesecake. Tez NY said the way they are offended and saying Charlie handpicked those people in his organization. Yeah, so they're using that as an emotional shield. That's what that is. That's emotional damage. Emotional damage. They're using that as a shield because they're trying to take the goodwill that Charlie had and spread it across to anybody around Charlie so that nobody questions any of them. That's what they're trying to do. Again, if you're telling the truth, you don't mind being questioned. If I'm telling you the truth about something, you ask me whatever question you want. I'll answer all your questions. And you not going to catch me in a lie because I'm telling the truth. So ask me whatever you want. Skittle said the CDS is in full force in these comments today. Yeah, it is. Nathan said, Neff, they can do it for the almighty dollar. We know that. Well, that is true. Malia said, Malia said, Candace has a show and needs clicks. Stop giving her attention and she will stop. Well, first of all, everybody who's on the internet posting a podcast, a stream, YouTube, et cetera, wants clicks to their show. So just saying that she needs clicks as if she's doing something nefarious just because she has an audience and attention is first of all, is a loaded statement that doesn't logically make any sense.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
And it's also a straw man because everybody who posts content on the internet wants people to look at it.
Strawberry cheesecake.
And you say, stop giving her attention and she will stop. Well, first of all, the internet is based on giving people attention. So why would you just stop giving somebody attention? I mean, if you think her material is bad, then just say what she logically has wrong, which you didn't do there, Maria. It sounds like, I'm reading between the lines, sounds like you're not a fan of Candace, which is fine. You have a right to not be a fan, but you're not offering any logical pushback. You're just saying that she needs clicks. Everybody needs clicks. Everybody with a show needs clicks, and everybody with a show needs attention. If she's wrong about something, then say what she's wrong about. But you haven't said what she's wrong about. So congratulations to you on the Russell Westbrook triple-double.
Oh, baby, a triple. Oh, yeah.
Triple-double award of the day. KDK said, Candace is just asking questions that we all want to know regardless of how you feel about her. Right after that. Exactly. She's just asking questions. Again, if you're telling the truth, you don't mind somebody asking questions. If somebody asks me a question about the books that I've written, you can ask me whatever question you want. You can give me a list of questions. I'll answer every single question you got. You're not going to catch me in a lie because I'm not lying. If I'm lying, then I don't want to answer your questions, or I'm going to do everything I can to dissimulate and make sure that we never have a conversation so that I can avoid being asked questions by you, because I know the questions that you're asking might eventually expose me. So I'm going to try to avoid the conversation. TPUSA is avoiding a conversation with Candace Owens, a direct conversation, and if they had one, they still want to control it. You got to come to our studio in Phoenix with all of us men in the room, and then you got to be in there in front of the firing squad to ask your questions. That wasn't going to go the way that it sounded like it was going to go. They're trying to control the conversation because they know that if she asks the right questions, it's going to expose them. That's why they don't want to be questioned. If you're telling the truth, you don't mind people asking questions, period. Any of you who's telling the truth about anything, I can ask you whatever question I want. The truth is still going to be the truth. No matter what angle I approach it from, the truth is still the truth. Why? Because truth is self-evident. Truth doesn't need a lawyer. Nana Cat said they don't look questionable. Who is they? Who are you talking about? User says she isn't owed an answer. You're right. She is not owed an answer. The problem is, user 731, is that if TPUSA never answers Candace's questions and everything just stays as it is, who is more believed right now, TPUSA or Candace Owens? The answer is Candace Owens. So even if they never answer her, they lose, and the outcome is they lose here. Their reputation is destroyed, or damaged. It's not destroyed. It's damaged significantly because somebody who is apparently supposed to be on their side is questioning them, and she's questioning them in a legitimate way. Farmer Joe said, dude, who is Candace that they should answer her question? She is a nobody to them. Oh, yeah, Farmer Joe, she's a nobody to them? So why did they put out a legally prepared statement about responding to her if she's a nobody? If she was a nobody, they wouldn't have put out that statement last week. If she was a nobody, they wouldn't be doing a live stream on December 15th. If she was a nobody, Erika Kirk wouldn't be getting the attention that she's getting during her media tour. She actually wouldn't be doing a media tour. Actually, she would be doing a tour to promote Charlie's book, but it wouldn't get nearly as much attention as it's getting because people are taking the things that she's saying and trying to frame it as she's responding to Candace Owens without saying Candace Owens' name. So if she's a nobody, then none of this would be happening. We wouldn't even be having this conversation right now if she was a nobody. And you, Farmer Joe, would not be leaving this comment.
Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down!
JDA Blue said, what did I miss on why they are playing defense? Because Erika Kirk is sounding defensive. When Erika Kirk gets asked a question, she immediately goes to emotion and she immediately goes to Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. If you respect Charlie, then don't question anybody who was next to Charlie. That is a defensive statement. She's using Charlie as an emotional crutch to block logical questions. That's what's defensive about it. And she's the boss of Turning Point USA. And any organization takes after the energetic cues of the boss. She's the boss, and that's what she's doing. The whole organization is doing it. They were already doing it before she confirmed it with these interviews she's done over the last couple of weeks. I was already pointing this stuff out. But Erika Kirk going and doing these interviews she's done makes it very clear exactly why they're doing what they're doing. Because they got to follow the boss, and she's the boss. Kay Sarah said, Candace is not entitled to any information. Again, I already answered that one. Let's say she never gets any information. Now what? Now, Turning Point USA looks damaged. They've lost a good number of supporters and fans. They look questionable in the public eye. And a lot of people do not trust that organization based on the holes that Candace has opened up about their organization. And they can't close them because they won't engage with her questions. So they end up in overall net losing. They may still bring in money, but eventually the Charlie death bounce back energy eventually calms down. Eventually people are going to forget about the fact that Charlie Kirk died. They're not going to be able to keep milking, hey, Charlie Kirk got shot, hey, give us money. That's going to work for a while, but eventually that's going to stop working and they're going to have to bring real substance to the table. And right now they're not bringing any. So that's their problem. Emotion can only last for so long. Donald Trump got a bullet shot at his head in July. By November, he had to bring substance. Y'all understand? If the election had been a week later, then it would have been a landslide. He would have dominated Kamala even worse than he actually did. But by November, people forgot about that, and he had to actually bring some substance to the conversation to win that election. Does everybody understand what I'm saying here? This is the way things actually work. So right now, Turning Point USA is still riding the wave of, hey, our leader got shot and everybody saw it. All right, about 4 months from now, that's not going to work anymore. They're going to need something else. And right now, as it stands, they don't have anything else. That's their problem. Tara Mills said, I feel like everything is a show for us, even this. Yes, everything is a show. You're correct. That's why it's called show business. The best show gets the business. Right now, Candace Owens is putting on the best show. She's getting the business. Doesn't mean that you're lying when you're putting on the best show. It just means she's putting on the best show. Again, it's called show business for a reason. Heck said, I stopped listening to Candace because she seems to be reaching. Okay, fair enough. But another 1.8 million people listened to her just yesterday. So well, not technically, you're still in the majority. There's 1 billion people on the planet. So fair enough. Lee said, disagree about the lawyer. How so? On what grounds? User says, this Candace is nobody and they need time to heal. How is she a nobody? She's a nobody. How you know who she is? The actual nobody would be you. Your screen name is user 731-981-740-5438. The actual nobody is you. What do you mean she's a nobody, but you know her name? Sobriety said, I've seen this show from Erika, not emotion. Well, emotion is part of the show. So you're saying the same thing. Carla said, they don't talk, they're hiding something. They talk, they're hiding something. Really? Well, first of all, I didn't say they're hiding something by not talking. I said that when Candace opened those holes in the official story and then she pointed at TPUSA, it made them look suspicious by not saying anything back to her. Suspicious, not necessarily that they're hiding something. Suspicious. Then when they did talk, they had a lawyer-prepared statement, and if you use a lawyer-prepared statement to defend the truth, then you are hiding something. So I want to make sure I'm very clear on what I'm saying. You don't need a lawyer-prepared statement to defend the truth. You need a lawyer-prepared statement to defend something that you don't want to say. K. Sarah said, Candace has been sued going back to her landlord. K. Sarah, getting sued does not mean that you did anything wrong. Anybody can get sued. You can get sued tomorrow.
Stop it. Get some help.
Just as you get sued does not mean you did anything wrong. Lee said, paralegal, 22 years, always recommend getting legal counsel handled. Well, it depends on what grounds, Leah. You don't just go get legal counsel for anything. Like, for example, Leah, you don't have a lawyer telling you what to put in these comments right now, do you? So what exactly do you mean by that? You always recommend getting legal counsel. In what circumstances? Scooby Sue said, just entertainment. I think it's more than that. I mean, Charlie Kirk is dead. That's not entertainment. K. Sarah said, Candace has lost 4 lawsuits for her BS. What 4 lawsuits that she lost? List the lawsuits that she lost. And what BS? Karina said, Erika got this. No, I don't think she got it, Karina. I disagree with that. Wes Gardner said, Candace was a Democrat a very short time ago. I don't blame them for being on defensive. I don't know what a short time ago was, but let's just say Candace was a Democrat. People switch political affiliation all the time. And we only got 2 options, so does that make her bad, good, smart, dumb? What are you saying by even bringing that point up? And why is everybody talking about Candace Owens here? The topic is Erika Kirk. Debbie said they put her there for their story and was using her for her emotions to play on us. Well, who is they? Who are you talking about? You just said you're correct. We are not equipped to run companies, the country, etc. I know. Well, thank you. Madi said, oh, wow, you didn't just say at home where she belonged. Yes, at home where she belonged. That's where she was. Madi, I'm not saying every woman belongs at home because not every woman is a wife. Not every woman is a parent. But Erika Kirk was a wife at home with the kids. That's what she was doing. She was running the house and Charlie Kirk was running the business. Isn't that what was happening? So when I say at home where she belonged, I'm not saying that applies to every female. I'm saying it applied to Erika Kirk. Now she's outside and she's running a business. But she belongs in the house raising the kids because that's what she was doing. That's the role that she accepted when everything was normal. Now that we have this snafu, now all of a sudden she's running a business. She's not equipped to run a business. And I've explained to you all extensively here today why she's not equipped. Tara said, I love strawberry cheesecake. All right, great. Here's another slice. Strawberry cheesecake. K. Sarah said, Candace is sitting saying no one but her cared about Charlie. Cut it out. Strawberry cheesecake. All right, K. Sarah, you ran through all your comments about Candace. I think you ran out of content here. Madi said, I wish I didn't have to work. Well, see, you should have married Charlie Kirk, then you'd be good. But then now you had to be the CEO of TPUSA. Tarek and Marion said, I like the new sound. Me too. You just said, women and men are created differently, not superior to one another, but we have different roles. Exactly. Charlie Kirk wasn't at home taking care of the kids. He was out running the business. Erika was at home taking care of the kids. And again, I'm not saying every man has to do that. I'm not saying every woman has to do that. Actually, every man, you should be out taking care of the business. Even if your woman's also out taking care of business, a man should be out taking care of business. Either if you're splitting it or you're doing it all yourself, a man should be handling the business. Not every woman has to be at home with the kids because not every woman even has kids. Karina said, watching this as my mom ran a successful business for 30 years straight, don't underestimate. Again, all right, let's not straw man my point. Strawberry cheesecake. I'm not saying it's impossible for a woman to run a business. My mom ran a business, okay? My mother ran a business for many years. I'm not saying a woman cannot run a business. I'm saying that as a general rule, women tend to go to the emotional faster than men do. And in this particular situation, specifically talking about Erika Kirk, this is an emotional situation. Erika Kirk keeps using her emotion as a shield and a crutch to avoid the logical situation that needs to be addressed when it comes to the death of Charlie Kirk. So it's not impossible for a woman to run a business. Okay. I have coaching clients of mine who are women who run businesses. Okay. So I'm not saying it's impossible. Please do not straw man my point into something that I didn't say. Carl said, CEO Candace Owens is not asking questions. She is and has insinuated that everyone betrayed Charlie Kirk and had a hand in it. Well, she is doing both. She's answering questions, number one. She is. So I got to give you a straw man for that because she is asking questions. Strawberry cheesecake. You're saying that she has insinuated that everyone betrayed Charlie Kirk. Well, everyone around Charlie Kirk. She has insinuated that everyone around him betrayed him. She has done that. So that one I'll give you a clap for. She did say that. And then you said she is insinuating that everyone had a hand in it. No, she hasn't done that. She has pointed out that a few people either knew something and let it happen or didn't do what they were supposed to do. And that's why it happened. That's what she said. So you got a 1 out of 3 there, Carl. That's 33%. If you were a Major League Baseball player, that'll get you into the Hall of Fame. JDA Blue said, that's an outdated view. Many successful women lead with strength and emotional intelligence. It's not an outdated view, JDA Blue. First of all, women have not changed fundamentally in the biological wiring of women and men has not changed over the last, I don't know what you're talking, 50, 60, 100 years. That's not outdated at all. Women tend to be more emotional and lean towards emotion faster than men do. And you said many successful women lead with strength and emotional intelligence. Okay, so I didn't say that. I didn't say that didn't happen. That's a loaded comment there, and it's a straw man of what I said. Strawberry cheesecake. You know, it's funny when I make that comment about women. Women push back, but I don't get any men pushing back against it. Any of you men ever work for a woman as a boss? Carla Indiana said the level of disrespect for his wife is mind-boggling. Sorry, Candace, he didn't choose you. Oh, come on.
You're not that
non
guy.
sequitur.
Trust me, you're not that guy.
So this is the one that a lot of Candace detractors have turned to over the last, I've seen this probably the last month or so, is that a lot of people are saying, well, Candace is only going at Turning Point USA and by extension, Erika Kirk. Candace has not actually gone at Erika Kirk at all. She didn't say anything about Erika until I think the last episode because Erika's doing this media tour. Candace Owens has been going against Turning Point USA, specifically the people who were working there when Charlie was alive, of which was not Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk didn't work at Turning Point USA until Charlie was dead. So she hasn't been going at Erika at all. But now people have created this new straw man that Candace Owens is going at Erika, which she's not, because Candace Owens is mad because Charlie married Erika instead of marrying Candace. Now, where people got this from, I don't know. Where'd y'all get this from? Just because Candace is a girl and Charlie was a boy, that means that Candace loved Charlie as a romantic interest. And because he chose a different romantic interest that Candace was hating, and she was just waiting for her opportunity to tear down the organization, and she waited. How long was Charlie married to Erika Kirk? Let's just say several years, however many years they were married. So Candace was just sitting around waiting and stewing, just waiting for the opportunity for Charlie Kirk to get shot on live stream so that she could go and destroy Turning Point USA because that makes her feel better about Charlie Kirk not choosing Candace Owens as his wife and instead choosing Erika Kirk as his wife. Do you see how many logical jumps have to be made for that to make any sense? But emotionally, it makes perfect sense. Emotional damage. So a lot of you who don't like Candace Owens have resorted to this frame because you ran out of material. See, If Candace Owens' points were nonsense, y'all could just stick to the logic and just stick to the logic. But since the Candace Owens points logically can't be beaten down any further, then some of you have tried. Some of you never even tried. Some of you went straight to the ad hominem, straight to the emotional. Now people are going to these emotional points. Oh, she's mad because Charlie didn't choose her as a wife. What the hell does that have to do with anything Candace Owens has said over the last 90 days? Not a single thing. But now people want to pull up that because it makes you feel good to say something emotional about Candace Owens, but has nothing to do with the logic of the conversation. This is another reason. And again, mostly I'm hearing this from females. It's another reason why, again, y'all are just reinforcing the point that I made here today. In a challenging, stressful situation, women tend to default to emotion. And there are many men these days, just to be clear, ladies, there are many men these days who have the emotional control of women. And a lot of men are acting like this as well. So I'm not even saying this is just about women. I'm saying it's feminine energy. Women should have feminine energy. So if you're a woman and I'm pointing out this feminine energy, don't take this as an insult. Take it as a compliment, actually, because I'm pointing out that you're feminine. A woman is supposed to be feminine. It's when men get feminine, I actually get annoyed. I don't get annoyed when women are feminine. I appreciate when women are feminine, actually. I don't like masculine men. Leah said the personal attacks on Erika are wild. What personal attacks? I haven't really seen many personal attacks on her, except people on the left who are saying stuff like, why did she touch JD Vance's head when she hugged him? Or why she have on those kind of clothes? Or why she's smiling in the picture when her husband died 90 days ago? Those are all silly. But I don't know what kind of attacks you're talking. Leah said, no, people were saying CK wasn't deceased. She finally put it out there to prove it. I didn't hear that, but okay. I don't think that was the spirit of that post. That's not the way it looked to me. But if that's the way you interpreted it, I can't argue against your interpretation. Pammy G says she was forced into a role that she didn't expect. She is now CEO. She was a stay-at-home mom before. Pammy G, she was not forced. How was she forced to become CEO? Nobody's forced to become a CEO. You know how many people at Turning Point USA or around Turning Point USA would gladly take the helm of that organization? I think she had right of first refusal because that was her husband, and she decided to take it. But I would completely reject the frame that she was forced to become CEO. No such thing. Mia said, shoot, people are still saying Tupac isn't really dead. Maybe they should have put out a video. Okay. Okay.
Stop it. Get some help.
User said, he said 1 or 2 days. Oh, well, who cares if it was 1 day 1 or day 2? His point stands. User 188, they all understand this. This is what happens when people are in disagreement. They just find any point to try to argue on. They know the spirit of my point. Sean O'Brien said, the whole situation is totally messed up. I don't think we will ever find out who killed Charlie. I hope we do find out. I think Candace is going to keep talking about it. Leah said, there was no questioning for logical people, but doesn't mean people on the internet weren't saying it. Well, Leah, come on. If people on the internet are saying something, people on the internet, that means you got to put something on social media to respond to everything people on the internet says. What's the threshold? Somebody on the internet saying something every minute. There's not enough time to put out that much content. Your mom said, I just joined. Is this a TPUSA bashing live today? Not quite, your mom. What it is a questioning of Erika Kirk's emotional fortitude. Emotional fortitude for being the CEO of an organization that is under as much heat as hers is right now. She doesn't appear to be equipped for it at this moment. She might be in the future, but she's not right now. So I am going at what we've seen from Erika Kirk, not even Erika Kirk, the person, but the behavior of Erika Kirk. And she is the CEO of Turning Point USA. So if you take it as a bashing of the organization, that's a bit of a loaded frame, but I understand. Amber Hathaway said, I lost my spot here. Let's see. I'm just trying to find my spot here. I think we'll get through all the comments here. I got enough battery. I hope that we can make it. Where was it? Maybe we won't get through the whole thing. I'm sorry, I spoke too soon. So I just lost a bunch of comments here, but I'm reading from the oldest ones that I can see. Noe says the entire thing revolving around Charlie Kirk alleged assassination stinks to high heaven. Well, we'll see. Elena Garadis said, what's the question? I just got here. Well, right now I'm just reading comments, Elena. So the question right now is your question. Jessica Child of God said, and everything Candace has pointed out makes sense. Well, depending on who you are. To some people, none of it makes sense. Amber Hathaway said, women love drama. That's what we are seeing. That's also true. I don't mind that, though. I don't mind women being dramatic. I mind when men are dramatic. Katie said, "Al, wrote it comment. It's new to me, and I love it." All right, well, glad you got it the first time from me. Pause. Nanny Cat said, Candace is making a lot of money off of her friends. TPUSA has made a lot more money off Charlie Kirk than Candace has. So if that's what you're using, we got to come with something better. Strawberry cheesecake. Pammy G said, Candace may be on to some things, but the things she's been wrong about are like way wrong. Such as? Like what? Jenny D said, I don't think we should question how someone chooses to grieve. We don't know what EK does at home. I'm not saying anything about the way she's grieving. I said this very clearly, Jenny D. I don't know if you came in here late. I said very clearly, if you're a grieving wife, be a grieving wife. But you decide to be a CEO. So you're getting criticized as a CEO, not as a grieving wife. She's the CEO. I'm challenging Erika Kirk, the CEO of Turning Point USA, not Erika Kirk, the grieving wife and mother of 2 kids. Carla Indiana said, that's not true either. People who followed CK saw Erika at the debates. Was she on the stage more than Candace Owens was the question. Not whether she was ever on the stage. Not if people knew that she existed. What I said is that I didn't know that she existed. And generally, she was not prominent online. Charlie Kirk was. He was the one people knew about. I wasn't a big follower of Charlie Kirk, but I knew who he was. I did not know who Erika Kirk was. That's my frame of what I saw. I'm not saying that she didn't exist. I'm not saying that nobody knew that she existed. Rachel MUA said 2024. Yes. Jessica Child of God says she started TP with Charlie, didn't she? Or at least right by his side. Again, I don't know if she was there signing the documents when he formed the organization. What I'm saying is, generally speaking, did anybody pay attention to Erika Kirk or did they pay attention to Charlie Kirk when it came to Turning Point USA? The main person was Charlie Kirk. It wasn't Erika and Charlie. It was Charlie. They knew he was married. They knew he had kids. There she is. But the main person was Charlie Kirk. 98% it was Charlie Kirk. Again, I'm not saying she never appeared ever. Lisa said, why are you a Candace fan? She's being disrespectful. What did I say positive about Candace? All I'm doing is defending her points. I'm defending the points that she's made and the arguments that she's made and that they are logically sound. I said her points are logically sound. So saying that I'm a Candace fan is a loaded question and a bit of a straw man, but I'll just give you the loaded question for now. Rachel MUA, thanks for the follow. Jenny D said, CEO may have done the pushing in public eye, but what did EK do behind the scenes? My question was not who did the most behind the scenes. My question was who appeared on stage for Turning Point USA besides Charlie Kirk more than Candace Owens? You notice how nobody's answering that question? Everybody keeps asking a different question because none of you want to actually answer the question. All right, this is exactly what I mean. Y'all are confirming exactly the point that I've made here. Emotional, damn it. Karina says she will be nicer to liberals, I feel. Erika Kirk is not a debater. So she's not going to be nice to the liberals because she's not going to be doing that. Erika Kirk is not built for that, the stage that Charlie Kirk would stand on and debate people. She's not standing on that stage. Debbie says, we don't really know how much she was involved in the back end of TPUSA. Candace mentioned, again, the question was not how much anybody was involved in the back end. Let me ask the question for the 30th time here today. Who was on stage for TPUSA more than Candace Owens aside from Charlie Kirk? None of you is answering the question. All of you keep asking different questions, and every single one of you who keeps misframing my question, all of you are women. All right, is this telling you all something? All right, it should be telling you all something. Oh, I like your funny words, Magic Man. Rachel MUA said, because women are too emotional, they have to be able to control their emotions. Well, it's not that women can't control their emotions. It's that men tend to have more control over our emotions than women have control over their emotions. And that doesn't make either one bad or good. It's just different. Debbie said she was starting to take over the TPUSA back end. Again, not the question. Christy said, I feel like we need the emotional damage soundboard. I could have used it on damn near every comment I responded to here today. I'm just trying to mix it up. I don't want to bore y'all. Jenny D said, no, she won't. That's not her wheelhouse. Yes, exactly. Pammy said, everyone Candace works with end up letting her go. Well, getting fired is actually a good thing. It means that you are not clashing with the organization that you're in and you need to go to something bigger or better for you. I think we can agree that Candace Owens is doing pretty damn good right now. Would you agree? I would say she is.
Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down!
So Candace Owens was at PragerU. I don't know if she got fired or she quit. Maybe she got fired. She was at Daily Wire. I know she got fired from Daily Wire. Then she was at Turning Point, and let's say she got fired from Turning Point. Now she has her own show and her own organization, and she's the biggest podcast in the world. So wouldn't you say that she actually has leveled up despite all of these things she's been let go from? Pammy G, what do you say? Would you say that she's downgraded or upgraded? Looks like an upgrade to me. But what are you seeing? Pammy said the foreign involvement, number one. How is that wrong? Has it been proven wrong? I haven't heard it been proven wrong. She said Charlie told her in a dream. So are you saying that she's wrong about what Charlie said in the dream? Because she said it was her dream. So that's her perspective. That's not a factual assertion she's making. She's not saying this is a fact and you can prove it. She said, in a dream, Charlie told me this. That's her POV. So that's not wrong. So Pammy G, your framing is completely off here.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
The foreign involvement has not been disproven. So that's also a false frame. So let's just give you an emotional damage. I think you're trying to make logical points based on your emotion, but your logic is so flawed that I'm assuming your emotion is controlling the steering wheel.
Emotional, damn it.
Also, another female making that comment, by the way. Christy said, I listened to the Harvey series and agree he has an argument too. He has a hell of an argument, which is why he's going to appeal. Nana said, maybe Candace had him killed. Hey, maybe she did. Now you got to do 90 days of podcasting proving it. Lisa said, 7767 said, isn't that what Candace is doing? Is what Candace is doing. Gen X Holes said, Candace is the truth. Well, I like Candace's podcast. She does a good job. James says, once OCDA writes it down, what's OCDA? Jen Hollis, thanks for the follow. Pammy said, TP Brothers betrayed him, number 3. Again, how is that wrong? It hasn't been disproven. It hasn't been proven, nor has it been disproven. That's the reason why she's still doing episodes. So Pammy G, what are you saying here? You're saying that these things are wrong, but none of them is wrong. Logically, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. Beth 1969 said, I feel the more she talks about it, the more danger we are in. Well, I think she should keep talking about it. Somebody needs to. Rachel said, if you step up to the plate, you have to be ready to swing. This is true. Irma V, good morning. Karina said, the next focus will be midterms as they should. Well, the Republican Party needs to do some things. They're going to win the midterms. Right now, they're not in good space. Pammy G says, Candace has been proven wrong. Whether she is right about things, she's using this as a grift. So Pammy G, you keep moving the goalposts here. You said she was proven wrong, and I said about what? You named 3 things, and none of those things have been proven wrong. Not one of them. So that's a loaded statement, and it might be time to stop. And then you said whether she is right about things, after you just said she's wrong about things, you said she's using this as a grift. What makes it a grift? A grift means a scam. It means a dishonest scam to make money. What is Candace doing that is dishonest to make money? She's not dishonestly making money. She's doing a podcast every day, and she gets ad revenue. She has advertisers, and she has people who literally give her super chats on YouTube while she's doing her live stream. What's dishonest about it? Now, you may say that you don't like it because you disagree with the content and the context, but there are people listening who actually agree with the content and the context, and they like it, and they're leaving her super chats at the end of her live streams because they like what she's saying. So there's nothing dishonest about that. So to call it a grift is logically inaccurate. So again, this is your emotions talking.
Emotional, damn it.
And I understand you're a female, and I understand there's a lot of triggered females in here today, emotionally triggered females, and I need all of you to.
Put the phone down. This is for my safety. Put the phone down. This is for my safety. Put the phone down. This is for my safety. Put the phone down.
Katie said, agree. I personally am CEO and I hate it. Staying consistent is hard AF. Well, that might be true for a man as well. I get what you're saying, though, Katie. Rachel said that narrative makes 0 sense. Where's your common sense? Nellie said, a true conservative does question everything, uses their brain, and thinks for themselves. Well, hopefully. I hope all the liberals do it, too. I would hope all liberals and conservatives do that. J. Rocka said, I think the word you're looking for is double standard. Well, not necessarily. Double standard signifies that it should be a single standard. But between men and women, it's not really a double standard because a man is a man and a woman is a woman. I don't have the same expectation of a woman that I have for a man. So when people say double standard, what they're really saying, what they're insinuating is that it should be one standard, but it's actually 2. But when it comes to men and women, there should be 2 standards. So I don't mind there being 2 different standards for a man and a woman. Nana said, I've never tuned into Candace. All right, fair enough. I mean, There are about 8 billion people on the planet who have never tuned into Candace, but there's a couple million who tune in every day. Christy said, I am conservative and want more investigation. It was closed too soon and too neatly. Well, technically, they're still investigating. I mean, there's a trial set, but actually, I don't know if they set a date yet, but they're still investigating technically. It's just that they don't do it out loud. They don't tell you what they're doing. So that's the difference. JDA said, not everyone. This is why I was lost when I joined your live. Not everyone what? Lisa said, aren't we still waiting for Candace to show proof of all her lies? No. She's showing evidence. Candace is putting evidence out into the world. That's what Candace is doing. Candace puts evidence out. Proof is for the prosecution. You prove a crime through prosecution, through legal adjudication. Candace Owens is not working the legal system. She's not a prosecutor. She's not a state's attorney. She's not a judge. So she can't prove something that is a legal case. This is a legal case that is already in the courts. So no, we are not waiting for Candace to show proof. And please understand the difference between evidence and proof. Candace is putting a bunch of evidence out there and trying to piece it all together. But she is not required to show proof. Karina said, we need people to show up to the ballot box and remember what's at stake. Yeah, you sound like Tim Pool. Rachel MUA said, Team Candace, Team Logic, Team Common Sense. That's what some said. Sobe Bree said, is the emotional intelligence in the room with us? I don't know. Lisa said, I'm Team Erika and TP USA. Well, do you got to pick a team? I'm Team Objectivity and Logic, which means I'm willing to listen to what both say, and I'm going to tell you what I logically think about what they're saying, which I do here every day. Katie said triple double. Yeah. JDA says, seems like you're biased towards Candace, which is your right. Or what's my bias? Again, my bias is towards objectivity and logic. I told you why TPUSA and Erika Kirk don't sound right. So is that bias? If I tell you that it doesn't sound right, I'm going towards objectivity and logic. So tell me objectively and logically what I have wrong. That means I'm biased towards Candace. You would have to explain exactly what objectively and logically I have wrong. That is leaning me towards Candace. So I'm not picking a side here. I'm just saying what makes sense on a logical level. Rachel said, I would want my friend to be loyal to me if that same event happened. Me too. We just said that goes both ways if Candace is telling the truth. What goes both ways? I appreciate you, Carla. Pammy said, I gave you 3 things she is conspiring. You asked for 3. I can give you many more. The 3 things you gave were all nonsense, Pammy. That's the whole point. That's the reason why you got the soundboard lit up. Now, the 3 things you gave are nonsense. None of those are logically inaccurate. You may disagree with the fact that she used them, but they're not logically inaccurate. She says she talked to Charlie Kirk in a dream. How are you to say that how is that conspiring? She said, Charlie Kirk came to me in a dream. That's a POV, point of view. And it's a personal experience. It's a lived experience according to her. Who are you to say that didn't happen? What are you talking about? Maria said, I don't care about Candace. She is free to say what she wants. Everybody's free to say what they want. Brooke Martello, good morning. Lisa said, you are clearly on the something. I guess I'm supposed to be side of Candace. Have a good day. You too. Charbert said, I don't know what to believe anymore. Fair enough. That's why you keep listening until you decide what to believe. You don't have to come to a complete conclusion or belief in one day. I think a lot of people have the false idea that they have to. Then it said, Erika Kirk is not sounding defensive. Her husband was publicly assassinated. She is still sounding defensive. Just because your husband was publicly assassinated does not mean you are not held to the same standards of any other CEO, especially if you're taking in $100 million in donations. She's a CEO. It's not about her as a wife. It's about her as a CEO. If she was just a wife and not a CEO, we would not be talking about her right now. Malia said, I'm sick of people who complain about her speaking out, but still speaking on her every day. Because they don't really have a problem with it. If she wasn't speaking out, they wouldn't have anything to talk about. Lisa said she has shown no proof. She's shown evidence. Investigations show evidence, not proof. Lisa, you're asking the wrong question. Beth Jen said, why would our president support a corrupt organization that worries me so much? What organization? TPUSA? Donald Trump's a businessman. And you could say Donald Trump is corrupt, depending on who you ask. But he's a businessman. TPUSA produces money. That's the money game that he's playing. Rachel said, listening to a man who knows how to explain things logically with intelligence is so refreshing. Well, thank you for the compliment. Elena says, a former athlete would love to hear your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders with coach controversy off topic. I've talked about that a couple times in the past. Generally, it ain't really much to say about him right now. I mean, he gets to play in his games. We'll know maybe 5, 6, 7 years from now what kind of player he actually is. And we can't go off a 1 or 2 games, especially His team is trash. They just lost to the worst team in the league. So, I mean, I don't even know what. I don't think there's a controversy. I think the team is just trash. And when the team's trash, everybody is on the chopping block. The coach, the GM, and the players. I don't think they have any. They actually, defensively, they have some very good players. But a lot of people on that team are all expendable. Nobody on that team is like untouchable, at least offense and coaches. The defense is actually very good. We said Erika's a strong conservative woman. She got this. Being a strong conservative woman doesn't mean you could do anything, and up to and including being the CEO of an organization. That's a different thing. Gen X said, my discernment screams that Erika is fake. She might be. You're entitled to that opinion. We'll see where it ends up. Rachel said, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about Erika Kirk. Something doesn't feel right. Some say. Lisa said, that's chauvinistic of you. Okay. Is that supposed to be an insult? I don't mind being called chauvinistic if I'm making a point that is logical about men and women. You're calling it chauvinistic. Why? What's wrong with it? Nana said, what shade of green would you say Candace is? I don't know what that means. Nathan said, is a new sound similar to you? You're not that guy? No, I just use it when somebody's leaving a lot of comments that don't make sense. So I use to put the phone down. I use different sounds sometimes for the same logical fallacy. Lisa said, Erika's faith will prevail. Really? That's an appeal to emotion.
Emotional, damn it.
It will prevail in what? What does faith have to do with being a CEO? Rachel said, most women can't run a business. Hey, said, I got to catch up on the Candace stuff. Yeah, you should. I think it's entertaining. Madi said, that's why a woman should not be president. Well, you almost had one. Rachel said, do people still believe he was shot with a... Yeah, that's another one that nobody wants to talk about. That bullet will take your head off. All he did was have a bunch of blood spat out, and they said his bones were so strong because, I don't know, he just had very strong bones. He was some physical anomaly. Possible, but does it sound probable? Nana Cat said, why didn't Candace come out about how bad TPUSA was before his assassination? Well, probably because she was trying to figure out if the second lady of France was a man or a woman, probably. Just because you come out with something now doesn't mean you were required to talk about it before. It doesn't mean you're required to talk about it at all. What if she never came out with it at all? And her biggest challenge with TPUSA is not that she doesn't like the organization, is that she feels that they did something that had to do with Charlie Kirk's death. It's not that she has a problem with the organization as an organization just in plain everyday life. That was not her challenge. Her challenge is, I think they knew something or had something to do with him dying. That's what she said. So, Nana, you're asking the wrong question there.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Brooke, thanks for the heart. We got a few more minutes here, folks, before our battery dies. Brooke said, thanks for expanding on this subject. You're welcome. Marky said, I had a woman for a boss once, terrible boss. Marky, that makes me think of that movie, Terrible Bosses, when Jennifer Aniston was the dentist and her assistant was a man and she just kept trying to have sex with him. Rachel says she loved him as a friend and he was murdered. And it's true. Cosmo said, I worked for a woman. She was emotional and cried when she fired me. What kind of job was it and why'd you get fired? Rather than Pearl said, Candace has emotional damage also. I don't maybe. Actually, she does have emotional damage because her friend got murdered. So she got emotionally damaged because of that. But Candace on the microphone she's pretty airtight in my experience. Candace is pretty airtight when that mic comes on. Now, she said she cried and took time off. She took a whole week off after Charlie died or whenever it was, after that whole situation, shortly after Charlie died. So she's still a woman. She has female emotions. But when that mic comes on, Candace is pretty airtight. I think she's better than most men, if you ask me. Doc said, just put the emotional damage on repeat for this combo. Yeah, I could do that. I just don't want to keep using the same one. So that's why I keep changing it up. A few more comments here, folks. We're going to run out of battery soon. So a lot of y'all have a lot to say about Candace Owens, even though she's technically not the topic here today. But I'll answer your questions as long as our battery doesn't die. Nana Cat said, where's your source on that? On what? Leather and Pearl said, I'm waiting on my sound. I don't know. What sound was it? I gave you emotional damage. I don't remember what you said.
Emotional, damn it.
Rachel says she accepted the role. He likely handpicked it. He might have. Maybe he did. Maybe he says she comes next. She could have said no. Just because Charlie Kirk said, hey, if I die, make her the CEO, she could still say no. What's he going to do? He ain't dead. He did. He can't make her be CEO. Annie said, I think the title only delegates responsibility. Well, Annie, that's exactly what a title is. What do you mean only? That's the whole point of a title. It's to make it clear what your role and responsibilities are. Karina said, Candace said, if Erika tells her to stop, she will. Will she honor it? Well, Erika never said Candace's name. That's the problem. I posted that on X yesterday. So people are like, well, here's Erika telling Candace to stop. No, it's not. I never heard Erika say Candace Owens' name out of her mouth. She didn't do that. So, and then Candace went and responded to it in a feminine way by basically asking me to stop talking about $100 million organization, et cetera, et cetera. So it's two females catfighting is kind of what it is, but Erika's not really fighting. Erika's kind of being a bit passive. Candace is a bit more direct, actually significantly more direct. Renee Jones Turner says, a widow myself, that feels sorry for me, leave me alone, will only last so long. Exactly. This is correct. Renee says she's choosing to ride his coattails. Eventually she will have to lead. Also true. Thanks for the follow, Renee. Rachel said Erika wasn't there when Charlie started TP USA. They weren't married. They met in an interview. He met her in an interview. That's right. I did hear about that. That he was interviewing her to work there, but then he said, I don't want to hire you to work for me. I want to marry you. And then he married her. Rachel said, no one's on stage as much as Candace. Facts. Rachel, you're the first person to actually admit that. And I asked the question like an hour ago. Erika B said nobody was. Yeah, lots of people shared the stage with him, but none more than Candace. Okay, so there's two. XTR said only his bodyguards are on stage more. Scott Young said, I doubt anyone can do what Charlie did. And I agree with you. Nana said, what happened to Candace being sued by the Macrons? It's still going on. It's still caught up in the court pipeline. Legal cases take a long time, everybody. And you got to pay your lawyers the whole time. That's why you want to stay out of court. We had 168K. I think people stopped liking it live because I said some things about women that a lot of women didn't like today. I think I cost myself some likes. Nana said, you're insulting the majority of your followers. No, I'm not. First of all, number one, the majority of my followers are males. First of all, number one. Number two, I'm not insulting anybody personally. Anybody who takes anything I say here today personal. I didn't say anything about any of you personally. I said something about women as a general rule and men as a general rule. So if you're a woman and you take a general point I make about women and you take personal affronts, you take a personal affront to that. Emotional, damn it. This is not the audience for you. That's number one. Number two, even if I made a general point about people, period. Let's say I made a general point about liberals or about black people or about white people or about women over 40 or anything like that. And it does not apply to you. But because you're in the demographic, you take personal affront to the thing that I said. Stop it. Get some help. That's emotional damage right there. That's you taking it personally and emotionally, something that was not about you. So it's like if somebody makes a comment like the guy in Chicago, the young guy who wears a suit and he does a podcast every day on Rumble, and his group is called, I can't say the name of his group, that guy NF, he makes a whole bunch of disparaging comments about black people in general. And I've heard him say those things, and I'm like, this dude sounds silly. Some of the things he's saying, I know he's trolling. He's just saying it because he knows he's going to get a lot of response. I don't take it personal. Like if I saw him, I wouldn't be mad at him. I will still listen to the things he says. I will listen to his interviews because I know he ain't talking about me. Even if he says all black people or most black people, this, I never take that personally because I know he ain't talking about me. I know I don't fit the description, so there's no way for me to take it personal. So any of you who's heard anything I said here today about a general group that you happen to be a part of and you take it personal, then the shoe must fit. And if the shoe fits, it ain't my fucking problem. That's your problem. And if you got a problem with that shoe fitting, then maybe you should change shoes. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! Barbara S. said, I love watching Charlie. I don't think he would approve of what Candace is doing. Well, Candace wouldn't be doing it if Charlie was still alive. So I get what you're saying there, Barb, but it wouldn't be happening if he was alive. Because the only reason she's doing it is because he did. Jake said, Candace has some questionable sources that she has claimed are fact. Need more information to decide. Well, wait a minute. What source does she have is questionable that she has claimed as fact? Because for it to be questionable, that means you would have to have reason to believe that it's not factually true. And she said it was factually true. And Candace hasn't made too many assertions of fact. She's shared many theories and she shared sources. And if she shares a source, then how would you know that the source is not true? How would you know? Because the source is just a source. And Candace hasn't revealed her sources. So, Jake, I'm not quite sure what you mean. Nana Cat said, it sounds like Candace is all up in her feelings. No, I don't think so. Nana, you're reaching. Pray for said, lose the sounds while listening. No, the sounds are never going away.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
Well, Heck said, Kirk's had death threats. I'm sure he talked about secession. Okay, fair enough. But again, Erika doesn't have to take it. Karina said, Candace acknowledged that Erika was referring to her. Yeah, she did. That's why I said it's catfighting. If I was Candace, I wouldn't have done that. But I understand. Candace is a woman. So Candace is susceptible to feminine emotions the same way that all women are. She has more control over hers than most women, in my estimation, but she's still a woman. Leilani said, dementia expert and psychiatrist has said 100% Trump has dementia, nothing evidence of symptoms MRI. Why are you coming here talking about Donald Trump? What does he have to do with anything that we're talking about here today?
Stop it. Get some help.
Leilani said, what did you say about women, my guy? I don't know. You got to watch the replay. Nana said, I'm here every damn day. I have been for a year. Well, good. Keep being here every day. Don't take it personal. I didn't say anything about you on a personal level, so you shouldn't take it personal. Michelle said, I'm a woman and I have so much respect for you. You speak the truth. I love your commentary. Well, thank you. Yeah. The internet is a very interesting place. Leilani says, specifications like most or many do help with general statements. It was what I said. I said, as a general statement, women are like this and men are like that. I said it like 5 times. I don't understand how anybody here can take it personal as if I'm talking about you personally. Karina said, NF is an interesting person. Yeah, he is. I saw a post on X yesterday that shows that they might be using bots to amplify his stuff. And that's how he got famous, and that he's not just organically that good, that he's getting all these likes and followers and comments and all that stuff, that they may be using some systemic bot farms to boost up the amplification of his content every time he posts something. Leilani said, no one should be free from critical, objective observations. Yes, that's true, but I'm not talking about anybody personally here. Only people I personally discuss here today are Candace Owens and Erika Kirk, and I'm not even talking about them personally. I'm talking about them on a business level because I don't know either one of them. Never met either one of them in my life. Christy said, you go. Michelle said, if the shoe fits, lace that bitch up and wear it. Yes, exactly.
Is it done?
No, it's not done yet. Let me finish. Leilani said, I'm so here for the sounds. LOL. Leah, thank you for the lightning bolts. Marty, thank you for the lightning bolts. Doc said, don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. That's a fact. Karina said, I actually have cheesecake in the fridge. I do not. I got some popcorn, though. I got some caramel popcorn. Son, I got some caramel popcorn yesterday. You like caramel popcorn?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
No, I like blue popcorn better.
Blue popcorn?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's that designer popcorn shit. I don't like that shit. I like regular popcorn, caramel.
I like wizard popcorn.
You like what popcorn?
I like red popcorn better.
Red popcorn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's that rainbow. They just be making up stuff. They just make up different flavors and stuff. Here you go. Fix it.
Now can you put it back on?
Yes. So a couple more comments. Cosmo said, you seem to be a good father. Well, thank you. All right, so folks.
Can you give me some?
Is it working? Oh, there it goes. Later on. I got to finish my live stream. Okay, so let me wrap this up, folks. It is 10:43. We went long today. I started a little bit late, so I went a little bit long overtime, folks. Thank you all the commentators. Thank you for the dissenters. Thank you for the people who... Okay, thank you for the people who took this message objectively. Thanks for the people who took it personally. All right, bye-bye. All right, not in here. Not in here. Take that out of there. Gentle with that door. Thanks to all the commentators. Thanks to the moderators. Thanks to everybody who's coming in here consistently. Thanks to the people who will be back tomorrow. Thanks to the people who won't come back again. Because you didn't like something I said. Look. We'll be back tomorrow, folks. Somebody said, thank you for saying caramel correctly, not caramel. Some people say caramel is actually still correct because some people just roll that R and the A together. That doesn't make them wrong. But anyway, I appreciate all y'all. Shout out to everybody who got the soundboard lit up here today. Don't take it personal if the soundboard got used against you. I'm challenging your point, not the person. All right, it's not about you personally. Everybody have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow morning. We got a lot of topics we need to get to. We might get to Andrew Colvett. We might get to Jasmine Crockett. It might get to a few other things. There's a couple other comments on YouTube. Let me throw a couple of these out. Let's see. Henry said, Candace saying, anytime any place a figure of speech is like when boxers say they want to box another fighter. Yes, exactly. It doesn't mean we got to fight right there on the street because I said I want to fight you. It means we're going to set up the fight. We're going to schedule it. And we're going to have a real fight. Everybody understands this. Everybody knows this. Miss Joey said, just keeping it basic. What wife gets mad about someone investigating the death of their husband? Well, she's a CEO. That's the thing she's mad about. She's a CEO getting mad about somebody investigating her company. That's what she's mad about. Ms. Joey said, Candace got married before Charlie, has 4 kids, and lights up at Christmas every time he mentions her husband. The jealousy claim is stupid. Yeah, people just making it up. Henry said, are you related to Mos Def? I am not that I know of, but if I am, he should send me a signed album or something like that. Everybody have a great Thursday. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Work on your game. We are out of here.